Alright, go ahead.
All right. Where last we left off, you guys, after having teleported to an unknown level of Undermountain, eventually discerned that you had found your way to the 4th level. While traversing around in that level, you came across a couple of ropers that tried to take you for their lunch. After dispensing them, you found in the room beyond them was a woman wearing tattered gray robes with a frog sitting upon her lap, who seemed to be terrified, scared to death, really, of supposed demons that lurked just outside the cavern. She introduced herself as Darabeth Meltimere, and her frog companion as Nezzy, I believe. If I remember the name correctly, we'll say it's Nezzy. While questioning about, you found that the frog actually talked and was not a frog, but in fact a small demon known as a Quasit, who simply seemed to be feeding off of her fears and encouraging them for her to simply stay put and be miserable. After taking a rest and casting greater restoration upon her mind, some of the madness dissipated. However, the memory of how she came to be and how she became to be in that state of mind, she shared with you that she was previously attacked, she and her previous companions were attacked by demons, and she was plagued with nightmares of them. And she longed to get back to the surface to find her wife, who, as last she knew, was trying to get a place in Amphale, which is a place along the Tribord trails to the north of Waterdeep on a significant trade route. You guys opted to help her in getting back to the surface, and after getting some instructions from a interesting young fellow who only introduced himself as the alchemist, you have made your way further up into Undermountain. And that's where we left off. You were warned about some hobgoblins further on.
Killy, real quickly, where our icons are, that's not where we're at right now, right? That's where the portal was that took us down to 5.
Nope, you
Okay.
walked up to here.
Okay, we just have 2 sets of icons out. Never mind. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That's
there
what's
are.
throwing me off. I was down. I was like, wait a minute. Okay.
I
got it.
went I went south too. I was like, wait a
Yep.
minute.
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, how did we get there again?
Ignore the workings behind the DM screen. Boop. Yeah, you guys are right there.
Okay, cool. Thank you for clarification, because otherwise I've been playing from the wrong token.
Right. My bad.
So it was the alchemist who said something about bugbears? Or not bugbears, hobgoblins?
Yep. Well,
Okay.
actually, it was the drow who warned you about some hobgoblins further up.
Oh.
Alright, well, no one's saying anything, so I'm going to go ahead and kind of just walk around.
Yeah, I was legit asleep in my chair for the last 5 minutes last week. I apologize. Yeah, I had gotten no sleep the night before, and I made sure I got some tonight.
Mm.
I passed the fuck out after work. If y'all haven't seen the news, Nashville is just fucked up.
Yeah, I saw.
Did you see the
I know it's like to be in
hailstones
Texas every year.
Dude, them hailstones were fucking mad.
Yeah, that was pretty big, whoever posted those.
That was
Yeah.
me.
Now, as we get further along, Julie, I do have to remind you of one more thing. I brought it up before, but growing up within an orcish society, you would know, especially with your dedication to Grumsh, that the patron saint of goblinoid kind, especially hobgoblins, is the hobgoblin god Magubliet. Magubliet and Grumsh hate each other. Hate each other, and have waged an eternal war for as countless millennia, as long as anybody can remember. With your time spent as part of the Orcish tribe, you probably would have fought in at least a couple of wars against a couple of hobgoblin war bands. But as you approach this particular block, you can see there are several well-dressed hobgoblins who immediately have spears and swords at the ready, and a particularly mean-looking one in the middle of them draws a great sword out, and he says in a gruff voice, as you approach, "Halt! Come no further, lest you be met with ash and steel. Identify yourselves before the Legion, or die as the Drow did, alone, afraid."
Julie walks up. Please excuse the clamor in the other room. Every Wednesday.
I immediately I immediately pictured your character going, "Yo!"
No, Julie does stand forward and go, shit, I had something prepared and now it just flew right out of my head. He does walk up and he has his sword ready. And he says, "I am Julie." Says, "And if you would test me, then come and test me, but stop the jabbering. You half-formed miscreant."
They call me David.
What do the rest of you
All
do
right,
as
David.
Julie steps forward?
I was just thinking that too. All right, David.
Who's he talking to, Dragon Man? I can't. Is there somebody over there?
I can't see that far around the corner.
Shit.
I'll walk forward and I'll go. If you're worried about killing, if you think us being worried about you killing some drow is bad, you should worry about the slaughter of all of you.
I'm gonna use stealth and sneak up around the corner so that I can see what's going on.
Oh god, I get the picture of the cat in my head.
Okay.
That's
So
there.
you two coming forward and saying that, just double checking some passive perceptions here. All right. Daz, you successfully hide. As you all approach, they have weapons drawn and they get ready to fire because you just threatened them, and a hobgoblin's not about to let that slide. So go ahead and roll initiative.
Motherfucker.
Are the dice working tonight?
Yes, they apparently hotfixed it. Feel free to double check it as you roll, but they hotfixed it.
Yeah, the character sheet looks full, complete, and everything looks good so far.
Right.
Yeah, that's good.
Alrighty. Daz, you're up first.
Do we
Yes.
know where we're at, by the way?
You haven't been to this. I mean, I'll tell you as a player, you know you're on it's clear looking at the map, you're on the 3rd level of Undermountain. As far as where you are in the 3rd level of Undermountain, you wouldn't know because you haven't been to this side of it.
Well, no. As a character, do I even know that we're on the 3rd level of Undermountain?
Because
We
Treverin
did the
was
math
able-
earlier. Yeah.
Right. Treverin was able to surmise you were on the 4th level based on his maps that he took earlier from the 1st level. So walking up, you would surmise you're probably on the 3rd level, but that's as far as you get. All right, Daz, you're up first. You are hidden. What do you do?
Oh, I so wish that some tables. Anyway, so who talked? Who was the one that?
This
I
fellow
didn't
in the
see who
middle here.
talked. There's somebody that looks better than the other ones. That fellow.
This fellow. Yep. He is dressed in half-plate armor. The rest of them are dressed in chainmail.
Well, that fellow is now going to be a pincushion. All right. I'm loosing. What are we at? Sharpshooter. 4 shots at him. I'm going to use my axe and surge.
All right. 20 hits. 28 hits.
Hold on. So it's 15, 23, 18, and 20, whatever. So I'm going to use. Oh, shit. So does that first one, does that hit with a 15?
Oh, you're right. Like 5. 15 misses.
I'm going to use my precision attack. I'm going to use a dice on it.
Okay, hang on. Double check something on that. Okay. I will allow you to, but part of the ruling on that is before any effects of the attack are applied, which includes me telling you whether or not it hits or misses. So that's something
okay.
normally it's something you have to decide before I tell you whether an attack hits or misses.
I see. All right.
So-
I will. And it still misses, I believe.
16 will still miss.
Hits.
No.
Okay.
So 16 will still
Um,
miss.
right.
28 minus 5 is 23. That one will hit for 17. 23 is 18. That will hit for 18. And then the last one will also hit for 15. And yeah,
For 20.
you... Yeah, 20, sorry. All right, so those last three, you pelt into him, burning your action surge, and he has just turned straight up into a pincushion. The leader is gone. All right, but you are now very much visible.
Then I will move back here and attempt to hide again.
Okay. Next to go with the hobgoblins. I'm not allowing you to do that with advantage. That said, a
Sorry.
14 will still allow you to be in stealth. So
Okay.
all right. So this guy back here pulls out a horn and blows, and the sound of the horn kind of echoes throughout the caverns. The rest of them utter a cry to Magoogliet as they charge forward against Julie and Kay.
One does not simply blow the horn of Gondor.
And that should give some good angles. Okay. With the exception of the one, these three guys back here are going to pull out longbows and will fire them in Julie's direction. 3 at once. A 1, a 2, a 3.
Every time you do that, I think of that goddamn
Tootsie
owl.
roll. Tootsie roll out. Yes, that's what I was about to say.
That's exactly what I'm referencing. So, all right. So those three will miss as they fire into Julie. These other three will also in the back fire at Julie. 19, 15, and 21. And
So I take 1 point each from those 2 hits.
you shuffle off 3 points of damage each, right? Or do you have to take 1 point?
I have to take 1 point, I believe, yeah. So I'll take 2 points.
Let me just double check the wording on something real quick. Not on that, but on something else for the hobgoblins. Because they do have martial advantage. Once per turn, extra 2d6 if it hits a weapon attack. Does not have to be melee. If that creature's within 5 feet of an ally of the hobgoblin. Alright, so on those 2 hits, they are going to burn their martial advantage for an extra 46 damage. So shuff off 3 from each, because they're essentially hitting you for more than that. So 12 and 2 is 14, and 3 is 17. Subtract 6. You lose 11 points of damage. Yep.
Alright.
And then the 3 who are next to you have longswords drawn, shields drawn, and they're going to slash at all of them at you.
Oh,
That'll
they
hit you.
really aren't happy with Julie, are they?
I mean, both of you came out and challenged them, Julie first off. So the rest of them will miss. The 20 will hit you, and they're going to burn martial advantage on that one too. 7 and 7 is 14 minus 3, another 11 points of damage from that. And Achilles is dead. Draloff, you're up next.
Hey, it says
What is martial advantage? I've never heard of that.
The hobgoblins have it in particular. Once per turn, they can deal an extra 2d6 damage to a creature if it hits with a weapon attack, if that creature is within 5 feet of an ally of the hobgoblin that isn't incapacitated.
And they can do that every turn.
Once per turn.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Hey, you're,
a warband of hobgoblins can be quite dangerous.
the heavy armor master says nothing about taking 1 minimum. Just says reduces it by 3.
So. Alrighty, Draloff, what you doing?
Seeing my compatriots get hurt, I rage.
Alright.
I'm not going to reckless swing against them because they look like they're going to hurt, so I'm just going to regular Great Master on the next 2 rolls on the guy in front of me.
Alright. Crit miss. 11's
Yeah.
going to miss too. He blocks his attack. So the first attack, he almost repulsed you close to your neck, almost getting a clavicle. You barely manage to dodge back as you come through with the follow-up, in which you just block with the shield. Okay, you're up.
So I'm going to raise my sword to the sky. I have a longsword and shield right now. Raise my longsword to the sky
Mhm.
and pull down a beam of light and pick myself, Drelloff, and Julie for this.
I don't like that. Oh, bless.
Less. All right.
Is that the
1d4 to attack rolls or shipping throws.
And then, would you allow me to shield bash the one in front of me as an offhand attack?
Technically, a shield bash is part of the shield master feat, so no.
Okay, damn. I was gonna say I just want to bring my shield across his face.
I have someone at my local game store that tried to do the same thing for a long time, and so eventually we looked up the ruling on that. It's the only reason I know.
Can I just punch him then? As an offhand attack?
Yeah, sure, why not?
That's just a 1d4, isn't it? Or-
Yep. 1d4 if you hit him, so
Yeah.
just a strength check to hit him. Not save, check.
Oh, my bad. Yep. Da-ba-da-ba-da.
you failed? That's it.
Still didn't matter.
Wow.
Okay, that's on
You punch him in the chainmail. He just kind of looks down, looks back up at you, and growls.
Like
Cinder
Stop
next.
it.
little Steven Seagal action where he just pushes your hand aside as it's coming at him. I guess I'm up.
Yep.
There's hobgoblins around there. Be careful. I got your back.
Would I have heard the challenge issued from where I was?
Oh yeah. We certainly would have heard in the horde blow if nothing else.
But the goblins were were acting in a threatening manner beforehand too.
No, they asked you to identify yourselves. Julie came forward and challenged them, and then Kay followed through with another threatening trade of words, and then they drew their weapons and went after you.
Hang on.
And then I tried to punch one in the face.
Hey, we wristed it.
All I can think of is that Revenge of the Nerds, the black guy with the limp-wristed throwing style. Like you just kind of hit him like that, flick your wrist at him.
Kelly,
I bet you agree.
I don't feel like getting into the thick of it with the goblins necessarily. So I'm just going to
They're hobgoblins. Goblins are much more noble race than those bastards.
Since you've worked around enough goblins to know that goblins are usually subservient to hobgoblins and are a cowardly race.
I look at the goblin next to me and I'm like, yep. With that, I'm going to cast this. But I'm going to stay undercover if I can.
Okay. So right now you're in total cover of them because you're around the corner essentially. And let's see, 33.
Yeah, I'm gonna move down in a second.
Yep.
I'm going to move down to here, trying to tuck myself into the corner. I don't really want to. Well, that's a corner. Whatever. However.
Okay. You're going to be in the open, so they're going to be in sight of them so.
That's fine.
Okay. Are you done for your turn there then?
Yeah, I don't have anything I want to. I don't want to contribute to this, but I also don't want to see my friends hurt.
Right. All right. Treverin, you're up next.
Okay. First thing is my free action. I'm going to say, and they call me impulsive. Looking at my three compadres in front of me and shaking my head. Then I yell, "Hey, one of you hobgoblins, go get Larash. I
Okay.
think that's what his name was, if I remember correctly, according to my notes.
Okay. Make a persuasion check. Okay.
That's pretty persuasive.
The name catches their attention, and they have their weapons drawn. They're in the thick of it. As you call out that name, they go, "Wait." Anything else for your turn?
Then I'm gonna hold my action depending on what their response is. If I see what I'm gonna get Larash, I will not do anything. Otherwise, I am holding my action of a fireball just in case they decide to not play nice.
Okay. Julie, what are you doing?
Does that name mean anything to Julie at all?
The name, LaRoche.
Yeah.
Make a history check. See if you remember it.
This is where note taking would have come in handy.
Okay, you remember the Rush was a hobgoblin that you had rescued from the Drow on the 3rd level of Undermountain, and he told you about some hobgoblins on that level belonging to a group called the Legion of Azrak.
Hmm. No.
Which, if you remember, the entire last episode, I kept saying I'm not worried about the hobgoblins, and y'all go run in and attack them.
Welcome to the Troll Skull Troop.
I didn't attack them, to be fair. I provoked them.
Yeah.
No, what you did could not be considered an attack at all.
Yeah, right.
All right. Julie's going to activate his Eye of Burning Blood and have at it with the guy right in front of him.
You're gonna have your way with him?
I'm going to
Finish.
have at it with. So first swing, the crit. Let's just see the damage there first.
Sure. That's going to kill him.
And that's going to kill him. Okay.
Yep.
Then on the one just north of him, 15 plus 16.
Nope, he will block that attack.
All right. We'll action surge and attack him again.
Okay.
22, I assume hits.
Yes, 22 does hit.
Okay. 15.
Okay.
Plus, do I get the plus D4 on that?
The D4 is only on the attack roll, not on the damage.
No, he gets a D4.
No, with the Crusader's Mantle, I get the D4 radiant damage, do I not?
Yes, you do.
So
I
18?
apologize, forgot about the crit. Yes, and that'll be enough that one dies.
All right. Now I use my last attack on the one to the south of the one that was in front of me.
Okay.
19 plus 3 is 22. Is that it?
That'll hit. Yep.
All right. 8 plus 2 is 10.
Okay, he is not dead, but he is very badly injured.
All right. And then as a bonus action for my Great Weapon Mastery, I'm going to use my crit attack on him. Same guy.
Okay.
18 plus 2 is 20.
Yes, that'll hit.
That's 9 plus 2 is 11 damage.
All right. You just cleave down in a few sweeping arcs with your eye all the 3 hobgoblins in front of you.
And then I will. No, I'm going to stay right where I am.
Okay.
And I'm actually going to just put my hand out and give the "who's next" gesture.
Okay. Deribith on her turn kind of looks over at you, Singe, and you at Daz, and goes, "Are we doing this?"
I'll turn around and reply to her. With our frontline fighters so adamant about killing everything that moves and taking their stuff, it does appear that way.
Well, better clear the place before whatever reinforcements they just called for gets here, and she is going to cast a 3rd level fireball. Which, even if they save, is going to easily kill them with 36 points of damage.
Yeah, good roll, by the way.
Thank you.
Thanks for letting it be on our side.
I'm just glad I didn't have to waste a spell slot for it.
Yeah, that's going to be enough that it'll kill them. So even if they save, and she is able to center it on basically all of the rest of them, killing off the remaining hobgoblins. So you are out of combat. That horn did blow, and an explosion from the fireball now echoes throughout the caverns. What are you doing?
I'm
Julie
looking
wants
at
to
my
grab-
3 guys in the front, and I go, what are you guys doing? We had safe passage through here when we rescued Larash earlier.
OOC question. So, not only have we created a power vacuum when we killed the drow earlier, we've also created a power vacuum because we've killed their enemies as well.
So, just like Thanos, balance in all things.
Right. Julie wants to take. Julie's going to take the horn and
Okay.
stand in the middle of the room here with it, so that when whatever comes, they can see all the death and carnage and see him with the horn. And he's just
Okay.
going to look at him whenever they show up and just say, "Took you long enough," and throw it to the ground.
Okay, so as you go out and you pick up the horn, and as you kind of hold it out there in the middle, you see a contingent of about half a dozen bugbears begin to descend their way down towards the cavern. They stop just short. They see several of the burned or slashed bodies of these hobgoblins that more or less lay where they stood. They see you in the middle, and they go right back up.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Julie calls after them. Then he turns back to you guys. And he's like, "Oh, that was fun." I'm gonna search the chief guy. Anything important on him? Like a key or a note or anything?
Just make a perception check as you investigate him.
Oops,
Okay.
sorry. 14.
All right.
107 families visited my social services.
On his person, there's a pouch that contains about. You got audio come through. There's a pouch that contains about 30 gold pieces. Also on him is this stone that has a dagger painted on it that seems to, based on a casual observation, symbolize him as a lieutenant or something. You notice that the other hobgoblins here aren't really carrying much in the way of cash. They have across the mall maybe about 3 gold pieces or something. They have on their person papers that have kind of crude drawings of their faces, as well as information in Goblin that gives out their names, where they're from, highlights them as soldiers of the Legion, etc.
Definitely going to take the rock with the sword on it. That's a trophy for the altar. The rest of the stuff I don't care about. I'll take the gold. I'll just put it with the rest of the party treasure. And I'll say to Trevelyan, look, they started it.
Erebeth will say,
I reply
they
back,
drew
no,
first
they
blood,
didn't.
not me. They drew
You
first
invoke-
blood, not me.
Completely disagree, my friend.
Erebeth
You
will
made the first
Erebeth.
aggressive motion.
Darabeth will say, perhaps we can continue this argument somewhere where it's safe, gentlemen, before whatever reinforcements they're calling get down here.
And I'll respond, I said, well, this was a safe place. Now, nowhere's safe for us.
Welcome to Undermountain.
I guess what's down here?
There are passageways continuing to the north and to the south. What's
I'm going to check up there.
What's the duration on Bless?
It's only a minute, so it can go bye-bye.
Yeah, so's mine.
Lights outside work at all?
Talking to me?
Lights outside work?
Outside? No.
No, inside.
If that's suddenly a priority, I'll try to get it fixed. I'll try to go to the hardware store tomorrow.
Inside, outside.
My door.
There are passageways continuing to both the north and the south.
I guess
I'll
I'll
follow Treverin.
I feel like Trevor knows where he's going.
Well, you should. I have the map, and I know where we're at on the 3rd floor, and I know we're heading to Skullport.
Droff, what is
Same.
you and never following a marching order? It annoys the crap out of me to no end that you're behind everyone and then you aren't.
He's a quick dwarf. Don't you remember? He outran our fucking player.
Garage door.
Anyway, so following along this path, it does eventually snake its way towards Skullport.
Well, put us in Skullport.
Well, give me a minute. I need to drag all you dudes together. Let me pull up the details. Hang on. Actually, I think you guys are going to be in the town itself. All right. So the path kind of winds along some waterfalls, actually, that kind of drift off to the cavern sides. But eventually, you do find yourself among some cobbled streets.
The icons I see is where the inn was. Is that where we're supposed to be now? Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Gonna run to our doppelgangers, I guess.
Killy,
Yeah,
Killy,
we've been here before.
Killy has been banned for duping.
Oh, great Skullport.
Oh yeah, you didn't want to come back here, did you?
Killy, while we're walking through here, I'm gonna be looking at any of the walls. Specifically, trying to keep an eye out for any posters that may have a certain wanted figurine on it.
You'll have to help me out here. What kind of wanted figurine?
I don't know. He's got green ears. Says he can
okay.
shoot. You know.
Flies
You know,
butthole.
butthole. Exactly.
So you're looking around for any wanted posters that symbolize him. There's nothing out there.
Okay. I'm just keeping an eye out for it, just in case.
Okay. As you do wander throughout some of the streets here, Darabeth, looking around, pulls up her hood. You do see floating as you pass by one of those skulls that I mentioned floats around Skullport before, and it is glowing with a green flame. And Julie, actually, as you pass down the southern street, you watch as it just kind of hovers and floats past you in this direction, muttering to itself. thank you, Kent.
Welcome. I just watched the PAX East one today.
Yes, that was such a good episode.
Actually, it was very good.
Deliver
really
the
enjoyed it.
asset.
Deliver
Is
the
there,
asset.
an inn or a tavern around?
You will recall that the inn in Skullport was off to your it's actually
Right there, right?
it's off to your west
Hey, can you make your lunch tomorrow?
All right, that's where I'm heading.
over here.
Be great if we could find a merchant.
Most of the buildings are dilapidated. You'll remember that there is a well, this is a pet store. I don't know if you guys ever really found a merchant here.
We did, actually. We found a second-hand store where things were priced way
Astronomically
above
somewhere,
what
yeah.
they would be because it's like literally the
Right.
only store and they can charge whatever the fuck they want.
That's right. You found, yes, there's a pawn shop, and then you found
There was
a
an
store that's
inn
basically
run by a dwarf that I think the only thing he could sell was beer because that's all he had.
there's a tavern run by a dwarf that sold something called Undermountain Piss,
Yeah, there we
and then there's this inn that you're next to called the Guts and Garters that is run by a tiefling woman.
Yeah, I'm carrying a lot of stuff, and I would really like to offload a lot of it and do a gold split for the party so I can kind of clear my ledger. It's getting really hairy.
I wouldn't imagine that this would necessarily be the place to do that.
All right.
And I say that to Julie, being like, wouldn't you rather do that where we can, uh, where we may be able to barter for the, prices that were charged?
Get fair market value for the stuff too.
Killy, is this
Mhm.
the chick in this location, the one that could transport us out?
No.
Nope. That was an old mage on the middle level of Skullport.
Yeah, we have to go up a level. That's what I was trying to remember. Where was that
Oh, okay.
staircase?
It's over here.
Okay, all right.
What are we doing in Skullport? I got contacts. I can get us what we need.
I will come back and tell the goblins, like, look to your right. We're gonna get this young lady home, and we're gonna go talk to the teleporter and have her get sent to
Oh.
the surface. Unless you have a better idea.
No, teleport sounds great.
Maybe they'll have
Maybe you
a
could
teleporter
teleport you
malfunction
also.
with you. Yeah.
Hey, Killy,
Mhm.
if you had a couple things real fast.
Mhm.
How long have we been down here? Would you say?
In Undermountain period,
Yeah,
probably over a month at this point, at least.
probably over a month. Okay. All right. Fair. Just wanted to have an idea.
Sure.
I'd say I don't know what you guys are gonna do, but I'm gonna take our friend to the teleporter and get her home, and then I'm gonna motion for her to kind of follow me and kind of take off that direction.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Treverin.
As am I.
I will.
As will Julie. Daz, what are you doing?
I'm following along.
Okay.
So you
All
said
right.
it was over here, so I'm just going.
Yeah. So let me just, in the interest of time, I'll drag you up
there
there.
Assuming nothing happens to us along the streets.
No, you do pass another skull. This one alight with red flame. But aside from that, the streets are mostly barren and empty. You do see, You do see one individual, looks to be a human man, very half drunk, begins to kind of stumble his way out of an inn and, muttering to himself, walks past you, not even recognizing you. But otherwise, you're for the most part left alone.
Hey, Kill, this is our second time in Skullport, right?
Yes.
So, while I may not have noticed it the first time around, does it strike me as odd as there's really no one? I mean, there are people down here, but I don't expect it to be a thriving metropolis of what do you call it. But does it seem weird that it's this empty? I mean, this is where an adventuring hub.
You haven't gotten a whole lot of information regarding Skullport and why it's so empty.
Okay.
Um, I will say, for your benefit, that there are 3 levels of Skullport, and for the most part, you've just visited the bottom level.
Okay.
And to be fair, we have opened a door to full of things we didn't want to deal with that we just closed the door on them when we first got here.
And not only that, we did kind of shoot through a couple levels, um, not by accident, but certainly not on purpose per se. Thank you.
Sure. All right. So maneuvering your way back up to the middle level of Undermountain, which is mostly covered by these wooden palisades that snake their way around the buildings, you make your way back to Tasselgrin, who was the old woman nicknamed Tass, who was able to teleport people. As you enter in, she is sitting in a rocking chair, kind of curled around a cup of tea, reading what appears to be some sort of tome. She puts a quill in, sets aside, and says, "It's been a while. How can I help you?"
I approach her and I say, "Well, we'd like to book at least one passage uh, to the surface for this young lady. She's trying to return her home so we can continue on our adventure."
She nods and says, "That's interesting. And what is your name, young lady?" "Terabeth. And yours?" "You can call me Tass, dear. Now, I assume you remember the fee?"
Honestly, I don't remember what the fee is. I thought it was like 100 gold or something crazy.
"I'm willing to take 100 if that's what you offer."
No, give me a minute. I'm sure I wrote it down somewhere. What the fee was.
Killy.
She'll laugh and she says, 50 gold per person.
That's what it was. Okay. I
Julie
give
will
her.
pay it. No, Julie will pay it. He insists. He looks at Tremaine and says, "She fought by my side. I'll pay it." And Julie will give her 50 gold.
Okay. She takes it, and you see with one swift motion of the hand, go ahead.
Okay, hold on. So going along with that,
There were five platinum, just to be specific. Go ahead.
going along with how this story has gone so far, or at least my character's story, my character urgently needs to get to the surface. Kelly, is the Temple of Agma still a thing in Faerun
Yes.
at this time? And
Yes.
Agma would be the
God of knowledge.
god of knowledge and wisdom, correct?
Yes, sir.
Would there be one in Waterdeep that I would have already ran into?
Absolutely.
I think Waterdeep has the temple of every god, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yep.
Just about. It obviously doesn't have temples for demonic individuals,
but for celestial beings.
Celestial beings, it would have one for everything.
Well, although I have not mentioned this to my traveling companions, I've been thinking about long and hard about what has been going on with my powers and the incident where I was able to bring Kay back to life. I need to go and seek some spiritual aid and hopefully a little bit of wisdom along with it, so I will hand her 50 gold as well.
Okay.
I say if Sindra's going to do that, then I'll say, well, I guess I'll go check on the tavern. I'll hand her 50 gold to just go ahead and send me up. Hopefully, it'll buy me a little time to go check on everything.
I too have business, says Julie. I will go too.
I'll go as well.
In my axe.
Kay and Daz, what are you doing?
I said I'll go. That was the joke.
Oh, okay. Daz?
Where are you guys going?
I will approach Jazz and say, you've been a good compatriot, and if you would like to see the surface of Waterdeep, then I will gladly pay your way up.
I've been there.
But have you been there in a tavern owned by us with lots of alcohol?
Well, you have been good for business so far, so I guess I'll go and see where you.
I will put another 5 platinum into her hand. Say
Okay.
for the green one.
She will take it all and pocket it and smile, and she says, "This will take me a moment to prepare, about a minute, if you want to have any sort of discussion." And she pulls out a piece of chalk and begins to draw runes on the ground. Darabeth will turn to the rest of you, and she says, "Thank you so much for this. If you ever wander to Amphale, hopefully my wife is still there, be sure to stop by and say hi."
And I will look at her and say, and if things are not as good as you're hoping them to be, and you need help, you can always come over to Troll Skull Tavern and seek refuge there with us.
Thank you.
Hey Taz, have you heard of a mage named Nash Magod?
Nope.
Okay.
She just ignores you while she continues her chanting then, as she prepares the spell. And after about a minute, she does manage to get the spell finished. She says, "Get in there quickly and good luck." And she kind of hurries you along because it's only active for about 6 seconds, so you all kind of hurry in. And I don't have a map of Waterdeep for this. I'd have to go back to the other one. But if you go to that, that's an interactive map of Waterdeep that you can pull up for your benefit. As you exit out of there, you are teleported into what appears to be the abandoned cellar of what looks like it may have once been an orphanage or something, somewhere on the eastern side of the North Ward.
You said the North Ward?
I'm sorry,
Okay.
Dock Ward. Sorry,
Dock
Ward.
Oh, hold on. Second here. This map's not exactly completely friendly. I don't know what I just did.
Julie will try to make it to the street without being noticed. Like, listening to make sure I head up to the main floor, checking windows before I step out into the alley or the street.
Yep. The only noise you hear is the sound of what appears to be a couple of children running about and playing. They don't really pay much attention to you as you pass by for now.
All right. Julie will then turn to the group and say, I'm going to do the business of our business. I'll meet you back at the tavern. And Julie's just going to go and sell everything he can. And, we'll do a treasure share when we're done.
Okay.
And my plan is basically to head to Troll Skull Manor first.
Okay.
Check on things, see how the business is doing. Make sure Drawloff hasn't done something with all of our profits.
I need
Before I
to.
sell everything, though, just real quick before I sell everything, just some of the notables that I have on my sheet in case anyone wants to take it as part of your cut. We have a pearl necklace worth $250, that obsidian mage tower bottle worth $50, the gold chamber pot, the silver and turquoise comb and brush set, the mithril peg leg.
If you ask me, that golden chamber pot needs to go to our tavern.
The 20 pounds of mithril filigree. I assume if someone wants to have an item made out of mithril, we certainly accumulated quite a bit.
You did all the work for it. That's yours.
That's up to you. You're the one who pulled it off the wall.
No, I pulled it off for the coin value. Julie just knows it's valuable, but if someone wants it for something specific, let me know and I'll take it out of your cut.
I guess what's Mithril's properties in D&D? I've never really checked on that.
Basically,
weapon-wise.
Good question.
you can, if I recall correctly, I'll double check it now. But if I recall correctly, basically you can use it even if you're not proficient with the armor. Mithril armor. Mithril is a light, flexible metal. Can be worn under normal clothes. If it normally imposes disadvantage on stealth checks or a strength requirement, the mithril version of that armor does not.
Huh.
Ooh, I could use late mail.
I don't know how much. I don't know how much 20 pounds plus a mithril peg leg will make. But if you want it, let me know.
Do mithril weapons have anything like that, or is it just armor?
Just armor. Mithril weapons don't have any particular special properties.
Okay. Silent.
Unless someone wants to fight me for it, Julie's going to take the black pearl and the diamond worth 500 each out of his cut. We have 3 gems worth 100, 2 garnets, and a spinel, whatever you want to call it. And then I just need a price on 3 fine whetstones in the. If anyone will buy the Zorn skin that I took off.
What did you say this was? The skin of a Zorn. And why did you bring it to the cooking shop?
So a fine whetstone would only be about 5 copper pieces per. For a finely crafted one.
Yeah, the Zorn skin, I looked it up. It's actually prized by leather workers because it makes particularly strong armor.
Yes, and
but I mean, it's your call. If it's not worth anything, it's not worth anything.
Roll a persuasion check. See if you can find someone that way. See if you can persuade someone about leather worker to buy it. Okay. Hang on a sec. They're willing to buy it off of you, but they're only going to give you about 10 gold for it.
I'll hold on to it.
Okay.
I'll turn it down. Okay, in that case, the spell books, we have 3. I guess at some point we should figure out what the spell books are worth if we want to sell those, because those could be worth a good amount of treasure.
Yep.
We have 2. One we got from the Manor Library. One, it just says spellbook level 3. It's got 8 spells in it.
Right. I will remind you that actually near the Troll Skull Manor there is a dragonborn who runs a library of sorts, a book store of sorts called the Bookworm's Treasure. He would probably buy those spell books off of you.
Okay. 100 gold per spell level of the spells they're in.
Do you have written down what the highest spells on there are? Just the level of the spells.
Oh, all right. 1, Burning Hand, Sleep, Disguise Self, Unseen Servant, Witch Bolt, Shield, and False Life.
I don't need to know all the spells that are on them. Just the highest level spell that's on them, if you have that.
Oh, I have no idea. I figured maybe you would know.
Okay.
I don't know is Witch Bolt a first or a second level?
Witch Bolt is first.
And Unseen Servant also first?
Yep.
All right, so that's got 7 first level spells in it.
Okay. If you sold that to him, he'd offer you 175 gold for it.
Oh, robbery. All right, the other one. Let's see. Comprehend languages, Crown of Madness. Remove curse. I got to look it up. Let me look it up.
Okay.
If you want to move on, I'll look it up.
Okay, just maybe copy paste that into the chat channel while you're looking it up or something. So while he's selling off selling stuff, Treverin, you're heading to the tavern. Darabeth will part ways, thanking you one more time. What are the rest of you doing? And Dreloff, I see you said you're going weapon shopping.
Also, I need to remove this fucking curse you put on.
Okay. So looking for someone to remove that curse, you are able to make your way to. You'll probably follow Treverin after a point to the nearby to one of the nearby temples.
You mean
And
Singe?
I'm sorry, Singe. You're right.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm doing in a minute, but if you want to go ahead and put
Yeah,
the other guys.
because yours is going to be a big story beat. But you are able to get the curse removed from you at a cost of 50 gold,
Deal.
and your hit points can go back to what they're supposed to be.
122.
Okay. And then you said you were going weapon shopping?
Yeah.
All right. What kind of weapon are you looking for?
Halberd or glaive.
Okay.
Halberd, I think, is one I need.
All right. You were able to find a blacksmith. In fact, the Simbrick, the blacksmith near Troskull, will have a halberd available to sell to you. You can buy halberd for 20 gold.
Deal.
And then if you want to buy a glaive, it would cost the same amount.
No, let's do the halberd.
All right. Anything else?
I'm done now. Thank you.
Okay. Julie, for the one that you linked me just there. He'll offer you about 1,200 gold for that one.
Yeah, okay, there's a few third level spells in that one. That other one.
Yep, that's
All
why.
right, so 1,200, 175 for the first one and 1,200 for the other one. Okay, I'll sell them both.
Okay. Anything else?
Hold on, 1375. Those. Let's see. Bronze belt, sword. We have a suit of adamantine chainmail.
Mm-hmm.
How much would that be worth if I sold that?
Okay.
I'm going to link a bunch of items because.
Isn't that what I'm
Sorry, what was that?
Isn't that what
I don't have it in it.
No.
I don't have it in anybody's silo. I just have it in the party treasure.
Okay.
If you want it, you can have it.
been wearing?
Adamantine, you've been wearing it?
Yeah, that's the one
Okay.
that allows me not to be critically hit, correct?
Correct.
Yeah, that's been a while now.
Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. My bad. Just make a note of that. Okay. The Crown of Madness. I don't believe we sold that last time.
Nope.
And the Drift Globe.
All right. Are you going to try to sell both of those?
Yeah, I'm going to type a few items and you can tell me if they're saleable.
Okay.
Let's see. Crown of Madness. Drift Globe. Alexa Berserking.
Okay. So the Drift Globe and the Crown of Madness are both magical items, and we'll go by Xanathar's Guide's rules for the attempt of selling those. Great Axe of Berserking would also be the Adamantine Staff is not magical per se. You could sell that one for 100 gold plus whatever the base cost of a staff is.
Okay.
105 gold pieces for the Adamantine Staff. For the other three, they are magical. You would have to spend basically a week of downtime and then 25 gold per week to see if you could find a buyer. So you'd be at it for a while.
Shit. All right, we'll hold on. We don't have that kind of time right now.
Okay.
I'm going to sell everything else. I'll total it up and I'll post a cut here in the column.
Okay. So while he's doing that,
thank you, Kelly.
yes, my pleasure. So while he's doing that, Drelloff, you already said what you're doing. Treverin, you said you're heading to the Troll Skull Manor. Kay, what are you doing?
I will probably head back to the Troll Skull Manor as well.
Okay. Daz, what are you doing?
I am going to use my contacts in Waterdeep.
Mhm.
With that, I'm going to start looking for some, just some common and/or uncommon magical items.
Okay.
Like I need a bag of holding and some potions, just some simple stuff.
Okay. So again, we're going by Xanathars for that sort of thing. So it would take you 100 gold and a week of work to see about buying at least an uncommon or higher magic items. As far as common, I specify what kind of common item you're looking for me, and I'll tell you whether or not there's be someone in Waterdeep that would sell it. Potions, healing, you could easily find.
Yeah,
Beyond that,
that's mainly just potions of healing. The only uncommon thing it looks like is a bag of holding is the only uncommon one.
okay. Bag of holding, you would have to spend 100 gold and at least a week's worth of time to see if you could find someone selling one. Potion of healing, you could find an occasional alchemist around town as you kind of browse around. They're selling them for 25 gold a pop.
Okay.
So,
And then if they didn't tell me where their inn is, then I'll use my contacts again to find out where the fuck their inn is so I can meet up with them later.
okay. We'll get into the story beats here in a minute, but I will say, as you guys are kind of wondering about the streets of Waterdeep, having not been up here for a while, there are a couple of eyes kind of curiously watching you, more so than what you're used to, as you kind of wander around the streets. You notice, especially you, Treverin, especially you, Singe, off in the corner, people kind of whispering as they kind of look at you curiously as you walk by.
Fair enough. Oh, and if I didn't mention, I'm gonna go to Troll Skull as well because, what time of day or night did we appear? Is it daytime, nighttime?
It would be probably early afternoon.
All right. I would like to get some rest in before I go about doing what I need to do. So I'm going to ask the fellows if they wouldn't mind putting me up for the night, since I don't actually own any of the Troll Skull.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're good with that, then I will start my not quest, but I will start my questioning in the morning.
Okay, so you're gonna wait until after the morning before you head to the temple, then?
A few temples, if I'm right.
Okay. So, while Julie's out shopping, while Daz is away, the remaining and while Draloff's out weapon shopping and everything, the remaining three of you make your way back to the inn itself. And curiously, as you walk by Troll Skull Manor, you would notice that there's a couple of new mortar that has been laid into the side of the building as if something had blasted out.
Excuse me, what?
And I just kind of sigh.
I'm gonna walk into the building.
Okay. As you walk in, the place is old. It looks like they're just cleaning up from lunch. There's a couple of patrons in who kind of look up at you, and there's a couple of guests, and you see the dwarven barkeep who's been manning the place, Old Nutty, who looks up and goes, "Oh, didn't expect to see you again for a while. Welcome back, masters." And Holly and Molly, the two twin redheads, kind of bow as they go about the tables and cleaning up after the lunch.
Wait, Julia, why am I getting all that?
I acknowledge and
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Keep going. Don't mind me.
I acknowledge and I kind of look around and I look for what's different. Specifically, do I not see a certain chandelier hanging above our heads anymore?
You do not see a certain chandelier hanging above your heads anymore.
And I look at our bartender and go, did something happen while we were gone?
The strangest thing. I think a couple of them, other thugs tried to come in and steal it, but the damn thing just blew up before they were able to get away with it.
Those guys again.
If it's any consolation, they all died in the blast, and we've been left alone since.
By the way,
Okay.
you should thank your lucky stars that a certain dead dwarf did.
and knowing what I know, I just kind of just like, well, I guess you can't say he didn't go out with a bang. And then I'll kind of acknowledge and say, everything else going well?
A couple of things. An
Yep.
interesting individual came by with a strange package for Julie. I left it downstairs for the rest of his things. And,
Alright, yeah.
there's been someone walking by every once in a while asking for you.
Any description of this gentleman?
He looked the wizardly sort.
Really? When was the last time you saw him?
Oh, it's been about a month now, I think. No, I take that back. 2 weeks.
And judging by my timeline, Killy, I would have seen Kent in between that, right?
So
It's been
yeah,
2 weeks since I've seen him, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
a couple things. Nutty is not the best judge of time.
Okay.
He's a little nutty.
All right.
But so you have he where he says 2 weeks, it could very well have been 2 days.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, if you see him again, tell him I am in town briefly. And then yeah.
He says, actually, speaking of which, and he pulls out from underneath the bar a stone. He says, "He's here if you want to swing by. I guess you can hear me through this thing. You said you could." He's just speaking into a stone, and he kind of shakes it a little bit, shrugs his shoulders, puts it underneath, and then you hear the sound upstairs of like feet hitting wood.
Great. Okay.
I swear to God, a case sitting next to you, and he looks up, and he just hears you like unmoving. You just stare straight at him, you're like, great. And Kay's lost him out. What the fuck's going on? He just looks at you.
I will say, well, I did bring a friend. I want you to take good care of him, and I'll pull out of my backpack the cat and say he is the mascot for the tavern. Make sure he gets plenty of milk and food and mice to chase, and keep him somewhere away from Julie's area. I don't even want to know what he would drag out of there. That I just don't want to see it.
Holly and Molly immediately go up to the cat and start patting it and cooing at it, and the dwarf goes, "Right, we'll keep him in the basement."
Yeah, no, don't keep him in the basement. Don't let him in the basement. I don't want him anywhere near Julie's whatever.
Make good a snack.
Yeah. And then I will then go upstairs to see what the ruckus upstairs was.
Okay.
Everyone will find a sack of coin in their room that Julie had put there with your cut. Daz doesn't have a room. Julie will hand you a sack with the your coin and the mithril. And he'll stop. He'll stop as the bag's being extended to you. He'll pull his hand back for a moment and turn to the group and go, "Is he getting a cut?"
I was there when you found all this stuff. I don't know why I wouldn't get a cut.
Julie kind of gives you a smile and looks at the others.
I look at it like, I don't care about gold. Just give it to him. If no one else cares, you know what, let Kay make that decision. He's the one kind of dealing with that green goblin thing anyway. And I'll go up the stairs.
Okay. So this is something that would happen probably after this conversation, because you guys would have arrived at the banner while Julie is out selling stuff, while Draloff is out, etc., etc. So as you head up the stairs, Kay and Singe, what are the two of you doing?
I will go up to find a room that is unoccupied that I can rent for well, not rent, but hopefully they'll allow me.
I will show you to our previous cleric's room.
Okay.
Fair enough.
I will go to walk out of the room and I go, and I promise I won't take you to the tower this time.
Okay. So,
Oh,
while
I do want to
Go
say,
ahead.
Killer, for the sake of it, I am going to put a word out that I am in the
Residence.
no, I am looking for any magic items that might be found in Waterdeep that people could present to, and to meet me at said tavern.
any magical items that people could what?
People would be willing to part with that they own in Waterdeep. So anyone who's selling magical items in Waterdeep that I am looking to currently buy a magical item. If anyone has any that might catch my interest.
Okay. Again, it'll
Yeah,
be
that's why I'm putting the word out there so people can get back to me.
it'll be 100 gold in a week. So, just mark that down and remind me if I forget.
Okay.
All right. So, Treverin,
Mhm.
as you make your way upstairs, to where you heard the sound.
Now, to be fair, because of how this was done, I am cautiously going up the stairs. I'm not blindly going up there because I'm not thinking it's a mage or a wizard. I'm thinking it's somebody else. So I'm very tentatively walking up the stairs.
Okay. As you walk up the stairs, cautiously, Kay and Singe behind you, you make your way into the library and the study, and you see it's been kept very well clean. There are several books that have been placed there, mostly donations that have been given over to you guys that you are very happy to see by the citizenry of Water, or not the citizenry, but by some of the Magi of Waterdeep as tokens for your thanks for the efforts in rediscovering the lost wealth, the lost treasure, and distributing it back to the city of Waterdeep, including a personally signed book by Lariel Silverhand. In there, though, you do see Kent, the familiar image of Kent, who is flipping through a couple of books off to the side. But in his tome, in his hand, you see a familiar tome, rather, that is covered with uh, that has a black book cover on it, and he says, "Ah, was wondering when you'd show up. How have you been?"
Been doing all right. Didn't we just see each other like within the last few weeks?
Well, that was mostly coincidental.
Okay.
He,
Well, you knew
you're,
where I was. Why were you looking for me up here?
he says, "Well, I've been taking a little bit of liberty to peruse some of the things you've gotten in my free time, and you mind telling me where you got this?" And he holds out the black tome that you remember grabbing some years back. That was written by Ubark.
I don't really remember where I got it. I know I got it a long time ago. It was something I believe Dad had, and ended up in my possession when I left.
Make a deception check. He raises a curious eyebrow and says, "Huh, that's so. Well, would you mind if I took it for myself?"
I don't have any reason to doubt why you would want it. What? Yeah, and quickly while I'm thinking about this, I'm looking at this image of Kent. I'm like, why do you want it?
He tucks the book close and he says, "I just don't want this particular tome to fall in the wrong hands."
Yeah, and that's the thing. How did you have it now? Because it wasn't in this library.
Where was it then?
Um, I'm sitting here thinking, and then I'm like, well, it was hidden,
Oh,
and it was nowhere near here.
where did you hide it then?
It's actually in a secret compartment in my backpack.
Oh, okay.
Don't.
In that case, he wouldn't have found it.
Okay. So it's like, wait a minute.
Retcon.
Okay.
But he will be there. He will be perusing, and instead of asking about that black book, he will say, "Have you?" Well, I guess you've been down there and haven't had too much else going on, but this will require a little bit of alliteration, I think.
Okay, well, that's fine. I didn't mean to throw you off. I was like, that tome has been on me the whole time. It's even been in my inventory.
Okay. So, regarding your character, one of the last dreams that I had shared that your character had was the first spell that you were able to cast at random. It was when a displacer beast attacked you while you were living in the Feywild, and your mother caught you doing it and had
Right.
something of a look of concern before she was able to kind of help you out. It got brought up to your father, who has been serving as something of an Emerald Knight to the Queen of the Summer Court. Your father managed to take some time to visit with you, bringing along Kent. It was the first time you had met with him. And as they kind of examined some details about it, your father became increasingly worried about the nature of the magic that you seem to possess. Your mother just stayed somewhat distant as you and Kent, as your father and Kent both talked, and eventually the decision you came to was you would apprentice under Kent as you examine the nature of the magical talents you had behind you, as well as to gain a better understanding of magic and the um, nature of the world around you, simply because there wasn't a whole lot you were going to learn while staying within the Feywild. And after this decision had been made, your mother instinctively attempted to reach out to stay with you the entire time. And Ken, having had a fairly wide wizard tower and access to several things, um, was able to assist in that. And so you had moved out of the Feywild about you were probably about 40 years of age, which as a Eladrin is still young, still a kid. And for about half your life, you probably spent within the Mage Tower of Wamford studying under Kent and perusing through his library. And that's kind of where you got your love of books and your ability to peruse through separate tomes. It was during one of the visits between members of the Diamond Bears that you were managed to sneak that book from Obark and keep it hidden on your person and study through it for so long.
Right.
While you
Okay.
were your mother stayed in a separate room within the tower, um, and it was not unusual for members of the Kent's apprenticeship, different apprentices under Kent, to then work alongside the Diamond Bear Adventuring Company, which was run by Will, to handle different things. And after about 20 years of apprenticeship or so, you got eager to try your hand after learning several different spells. Although the entire time your mother wasn't very keen on the idea, and neither was Kent for that matter, as you never really got the opportunity to um, adventure alongside the Diamond Bear Company or even really get to talk much to Will. Um, you just didn't get the opportunity. You saw him whenever he came to the tower, but that was about the only time you ever interacted with Will.
Right.
And
Okay.
for those of you who might be interested as far as the timeline goes, um, Miles' character, Dr. Connors, will be in Chult at this point as a very, very old lizard folk, possibly even dead. I have to double check the aging on that. He might show up in a different game if we play it. Tuck's character would have passed. Tuck would have passed on at this point. Um, Will, Kent, Tegan. Who else am I missing? Those are the key 5, and then you already met with. You've
Isn't.
already come isn't face to face. So that's them. While you were apprenticing under him, about another. You got to adulthood. You've spent almost half your life in Womford itself and within that mage tower, and you're starting to go stir crazy. You can only read the book so many times before you get tired of them. An opportunity of sorts would eventually come as you came closer to adulthood. The village of Womford wound up getting attacked by what appeared to be some cultists, mostly wearing bone armor. Now, dealing with cultist outings was not unusual, especially for the Diamond Bear Company. There were, on occasions, the occasional uprising of some new cultists who claimed to be members of the cult of the evil elemental eye, but the Diamond Bear Company was able to go out with apprentices, with different would-be adventurers, and stomp them relatively easily. The cultists that attacked the town wearing this bone armor were entirely different, and both Will and Kent, who you saw in the common room of the tower, were a bit concerned when this attack had happened. You were encouraged to go with your mother into something of a panic room of sorts further up into the tower. And so you did, but as you were sitting in the back, kind of waiting and watching, you were assaulted by a pair of these cultists that were wearing these bony armor, and tailing alongside of them was this massive form of an undead minotaur. And this, when they came in, you solid opportunity to protect yourself and to really practice what you had learned. You let loose a firebolt at one of the bone armor cultists and managed to take him out in one blow, and you were pretty excited about that. But that excitement quickly faded as you were immediately gored by this undead minotaur as it charged towards you. The other cultist began to charge its way towards your mother, sword in hand. You heard your mother kind of whispering a silent prayer off in the corner. You remembered in the back of your mind a spell that you had read about that allowed for a dark concealment, and you reached out with your hand in an effort to try to conceal the room around you in an effort to give yourself some time to recuperate and hopefully get to a better position along with your mother. And as you focused on attempting to cast that spell, darkness grew, but it was far larger and it was far, far more powerful than anything you should have been able to cast. Your mother was enveloped by it, this minotaur and this other cultist were enveloped by it. The first thing you can remember was they were stumbling around for a minute, and you could see in the darkness. And you kind of blinked a little bit as they kind of looked around confused, and you watched as 2 blasts of energy, shadowy energy, just hit them, and they incinerated. They were obliterated. And as you kind of looked in the direction of where it went, you saw the shadow of what looked like your mother heading behind into some sort of unknown light, and she is concealed by the image of some sort of woman wearing what appeared to be some sort of feathered cloak. And you simply watch that image for a minute before the darkness fades, and both this shadow of your mother and this woman fading with it. And you found yourself gored in the stomach. The wounds were healed. So you stand up, and the bodies of the cultists are nowhere to be found. The bodies of this minotaur is nowhere to be found. And your mother was nowhere to be found. And that event, 25 years ago today, was the last time you ever saw your mother.
Do I realize? I mean, does running around being where we were for so long, I probably don't even really have conception that today is that anniversary, right?
Yep. And
Okay.
Kent turns to you and says, you remember what today is?
So I look at Ken and I'm like, Sunday? I have no idea.
Sunday. I'll be right back.
Okay. He kind of chuckles a little bit and he says, I guess you wouldn't have had a great sense of time down there. Thought you might like this. And he unfurls a jewelry box that contains what you recognize as a necklace of your mother's that has the symbol of a raven at the bottom. An alabaster raven tied to a pearl necklace.
And I look at Ken. I go, "Where did you get that? I hadn't seen that in years."
We found it in the rubble where your mother was staying.
And at that moment, I kind of my head just kind of drops for a second, and my posture kind of goes not completely limp, but like very saggy. And I go, "Oh, I see." And then I reach out to take it from Kent and just kind of look at it for a little while.
You remember your mother often wearing that necklace growing up. It was not always on her person, but usually close by. And Kent goes, I know this really isn't the best time, but I promise you then, as I promise you now, I won't rest until I find out what's happened.
I kind of look up and I go, "I know you won't," and I do appreciate it.
He rests his hand on your shoulder and says, all the same, you might reach out to your father sometime. I know he's let this go, and you would know your relationship with your father after this incident hasn't been harmful, but somewhat distant. Your father has essentially come to terms with the idea that his wife might be gone.
Yeah, I look at him. I was like, "Well, I know he's around somewhere. I haven't exactly heard exactly where he's at to even run into him." And so, I was in Red Larch not too long ago, and
You would
our pals there said he passed through at some point, but that's the last I'd heard anything.
Yep.
I think it was Red Larch, right? Wasn't that where
Yep.
we were? Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
You would know if he's not in the Feywild at the Summer Queen's Court, he'd be out on the mission somewhere. But you wouldn't know the details. It's been a while since you've talked to your father as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and I probably don't have a true sense, being as long as it's been, on how to get back to the Feywild myself, right? There's not like a oh yeah, I know how to get there. It's probably something that's somewhat been forgotten or lost, correct?
Your travel to and from the Feywild would almost always be facilitated by a trinket that your father would have on his person
Yeah,
that would
okay.
allow him to travel to and from it. It's
Yeah,
not
that's
something
what I
you would
thought.
have easy access to otherwise.
Yep, okay, that's what I thought. So I said, if you see him, just tell him, as you know where I'm at. It seems like at all times, which boggles my mind still. But tell him that I would like to talk to him at some point.
He kind of smiles and he says, well, for what it's worth, pal, your recent adventures have been kind of being broadcast to a lot of people.
Yeah, and when I find out how that thing's being broadcast, the first thing I'm doing is destroying that amplification system. It's very annoying.
Well, you'll have an audience watching you smash the damn thing, of that I'm sure.
Yeah, well, that's good to know.
Well, I got business I got to take care of back home.
Okay.
If you need
Well,
anything else, don't feel free to reach out.
yeah. Thanks for coming by.
He pats you a couple of times on the shoulder, pulls out a piece of chalk and begins to draw a teleportation circle in the library. Says, don't worry, it'll fade after I'm gone.
Yeah, I'm aware. And then since I kind of know he has that sending stone got there, I'm gonna, after he leaves, I'm gonna go downstairs and ask the bartender to give me that sending stone to hold on to.
It's all yours, pal. And he just hands it over to you.
Yep.
Sin, you were escorted into a sizable room. It's that has a couple of dwarven memorabilia kind of left there. It looks like, but
Okay.
the room has otherwise been kept in pristine condition.
Okay. Doesn't really look like anybody's occupying it at the moment.
No.
Okay. And I would be familiar with the fact that their former party member died, I think. Because it
Yes,
was
that's
right
likely been shared.
around the same period of same place I met them.
Yep.
Okay. I am going to rest.
To add, you ate his arm.
That's right, I did. I am going to rest, and I'm going to change out a spell or two.
Okay.
And when morning comes, if you want to do someone else's thing first, then go ahead, like Kay's or whatever. I don't know. Or
Okay.
or if you want to tackle Julie's, because I'm going to be visiting quite a few places, and I don't know if you want to start the morning like that until we're actually at morning.
Okay. While you go off to rest, Kay, is there anything else you're doing around town or at the tavern? Anything else?
Other than just really drinking heavily at the confusion of what the hell's going on with me, no.
Okay. So you take the time to basically imbibe in the stock. As you're down at the bar, then, especially as it gets later on into the night, there is a gentleman who kind of haphazardly stops up next to you, who has gray hair, and he says, "Hey, would you mind if I got your autograph?"
Excuse me, what?
Can I? Well, you mind signing my chest plate? And he kind of pulls aside a cloak. He's wearing chainmail, or not chainmail, half plate, and has a marker at the ready.
I suppose. I'll just sign my name on it and then give him back the marker.
Sweet,
Does
thanks,
this guy
dude.
have a hairy chest?
It's covered by the half plate, and he kind of wanders off.
I just look
And
at
a
him
biker
baffled.
mustache?
You just what?
I just look at him baffled as he approaches me and leaves. Like this is the most dumbfounding thing I think I've seen today.
As you kind of turn around and watch him as he leaves, you make a perception check. Okay. That's weird. There are a couple of murmurs. The bar gets a little busy as the day gets further. Holly and Molly have their hands full. As the afternoon would have gotten on, unless there's something else you're doing in town, Julie, Daz, and Draloff, you can head back to the manor at this point as well.
Yeah, what's up with that package?
Okay. The package is left with your stuff. It's actually sitting on your sort of bed in the basement. It seems to be kind of crudely wrapped in what appears to be some sort of twine. And will actually be maybe some wool or something. And as you unwrap the twine, you drop it immediately, almost instantaneously drop it. Well, let's take that back. Well, you're disgusted. We'll say that. The wool that kind of makes up this odd package unfurls. The wool is stained with blood because inside is what appears to be a hand, an orcish hand. And sitting on the middle finger of this orcish hand, you recognize the signet ring of Maku's.
That's Julie's buddy, right?
Most likely.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry. McCoos was dead. His son was Ornak, who was the one I was
Maku's is
supposed
dead.
to hook up with.
You recognize the signet ring of Maku's, the signet ring that she would wear. You would know, probably, that Ornak wore that ring after her death.
Oh, so that's likely Ornak's hand with McCoos' ring.
Yes.
Find the old man. Find out Who dropped this off? Julie will just basically try to find out who dropped it off, if he can give me any clues.
He says, some cloaked figure. He didn't really reveal his face. I was unsure whether to leave it there.
How long ago?
A week.
Yeah, the trail would have gone cold. Okay. Yeah, it's at some point I'm going to want to address this with the party, but right now we've got a lot going on, so I want to wait for everyone to be in the same room. Next time that happens, I'll probably bring it up.
Okay.
I'll pocket the signet ring.
Okay. As the rest of you make your way back to the inn, Kay, make a con save. Okay. You got a buzz on. You're not completely drunk yet. As everybody kind of makes their way back towards the inn. What do you guys do? Singe is resting.
Getting drunk with Kay.
Okay.
It's like the early evening now, right?
Yep.
I am going to go downstairs and not really say anything to anybody, and then I am going to make a beeline for one of the libraries nearby.
Okay.
When you're ready for me to chime in, I'll tell you what I'm looking for.
Okay. So Treveron heads his way out. The two of you are kind of getting drunk at the tavern. Holly will swing by with some the house meal of the day, which is some freshly roasted chicken breast that is topped with goat cheese and mixed in with some roast potatoes.
I'm not gonna lie, that actually sounds fantastic right now. Yeah, Kay's taking some of that.
All right. Julie, well, you said you were gonna. Treveron heads out. I think before you get the chance to address this with him. Is there anything you're doing?
Hey, John, where's the lunch bag?
Hold on, guys. I'm sorry. I gotta just put you on hold one second.
Okay, that's fine. We'll come back to you. Daz, you make your way back over towards the tavern. Goblins in Waterdeep are not an unusual sight. They're not all over the place, certainly not like some of the other humanoid races, but Waterdeep being a major city, it's not unusual to see some of those other races. So you're not paid too much heed. Certainly not as much attention as your keen eye will notice that Dreloff and Kay at the bar seem to be getting from some of the other patrons as they're kind of curiously eyeing them from a distance.
All right. I'm need to offload that mithril.
I forgot to ask you too, Killy.
Mhm.
Did the alcohol we paid to get transported get transported?
Yes.
Awesome.
So that
I just
is
remembered
available.
that.
Yes. So it is all there. In fact, they had no trouble getting it up.
Woot. Okay. It's gonna make a pretty penny.
Yes, it will. And it's one of the major beers, one of the specialty beers that the house is actually selling. And in fact, you might notice every once in a while that Nutty will take a sip of that particular brew every once in a while when he gets the chance.
I don't blame him.
So, Daz, you said you were going to look for someone to deal with the mithril?
Yeah. My contacts, ear to the ground. I got a contact in the city that can point me to somebody who I can offload this mithril to.
Okay.
And also,
you're trying to. Sorry, you're trying to specifically get it crafted into mithril armor.
It's only 20 pounds. There's not enough to make a suit of plate armor, which is really like the mithril plate would be awesome, but there's not enough in here to do that. I mean, it says 65 pounds is how much plate armor weighs, unless you're.
As a reminder, mithril is lightweight, so 20 pounds is a lot of mithril.
Then yes, let me scratch that. Then I'm looking for to try and find somebody that can get me goblin-sized mithril plate armor.
Okay, go ahead and just make. Oh, let's call it a persuasion check. As you kind of ask around, see if you can find somebody.
All right.
If you use that interactive map, anything in green is a guild hall basically.
Yep.
So you
So
might want to take a look at, see if there's one for armor.
Well, what are the two that work right beside us? The two.
Well, I mean, I have this, so I've got contacts that can tell me about the people and places in the local area. So somebody
Yep.
should be able to tell me where our armorer is.
So nearby there is a pair of genasi running the Steam and Steel near Throskull Manor. That they are expert armor smiths and weaponsmiths, and you're actually directed to them. So with that in mind, as you make your way back to the manor, you do stop by them. They will tell you that they can take the armor and make a goblin-sized mithril plate mail if that's what you wish, using all of the armor, all of the mithril that you have available. But it would take about 4 days to finish the craft.
All right.
And
Go ahead.
And since you're the one providing the material, and because he's excited to work with Mithril, well, you rolled a 1 in the persuasion check, so.
I rolled
Yeah, but
2, but yeah.
to be fair, his persuasion doesn't stop the other person from being excited about working with Mithril.
Yeah, but he's going to try to get you for what you're worth. He is going to charge you 3,000 gold for the craft.
Well, what was your name again? Genasi? Umbrick? That's a little bit steep. I mean, I could buy like a whole regular your size plate mail for like at least a quarter of that.
Mithril can be pretty dangerous to work with if you're not careful. It's flexible, burns easily to the skin.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and have to take my mithril somewhere else. That's a little bit expensive. My mom always said, don't trust a gouging genasi. So then I
What the fuck?
I walk out.
Okay.
I would take a look at that interactive map.
Okay. So
well, also I was trying to do it with my, my ability. So does my contact, is that like the only armor person he knows, or was that just like
No,
the
that
best
would
one
be
he knew?
that would be one of the ones within the local area. I will say this in the interest of time: if you spend some time tomorrow looking for maybe a guild hall or something, you could probably find a blacksmith's guild that the guild houses themselves really are just going to direct you to people who belong to the guild, so you'll be able to find another merchant who might be able to work with it. You can make another persuasion check the next day to see if you can get a lower price.
All right. Along with that, I'm putting it out there that I'm looking for magic items, and then
Okay.
gonna
You'll have to.
sweeten the pot a little bit.
Okay. So regarding the match items, again, Zenithar ruling 100
Yep.
gold and a week's worth of time.
I could pay for each 100 above it. I can get plus to the roll, right?
Yes.
All right. So yeah, I got seven gems that are 100 each. I'm gonna throw those in there for a +7 to the roll.
Okay.
And I'm doing this with Dark and Handsome. We're pooling our resources to look for magic items.
Okay. Again, that'll take a week. Deduct that gold. Make another
Gotcha.
persuasion check regarding the mithril.
Yeah, better.
So you're given the same price in the same amount of time. This time by a dwarf.
You know what? I'm just gonna hold on to my Bago mithril.
Okay. So that's something you would do over the course of those 2 days.
Gotcha.
So, all right, that's taken care of. Singe is resting. Treverin, you head out. You can actually head out to the library that is managed by the Blackstaff, which has those adventurers and everything, those wizards and sorcerers kind of practicing. If you wanted.
That's exactly where I was wanting to head. I just couldn't
Okay.
remember the name of it, and I couldn't find it on this crazy map. So
Sure. Well,
But
I don't remember the exact name of it either. We'll just call it Blackstaff's library for
okay,
now.
yep, that's exactly where I was heading. And when I get there, the first thing I'll go check in with I think it was Lady Blackstaff. I don't remember her name, and see how things are going there, and just be cordial and stuff. And then if she will allow me, I like to peruse through the library, specifically looking for things about the crow necklace, to see if there's anything I could find on that. But more specifically, more interested in trying to figure out if I could find some information on why Kay's magic has changed, and or what could have caused Kay's magic to change, as well as possibly what's going on with Singe. Since they've not been very forthcoming, I want to take this time, being the scholar I am, to try to do a little bit of research and see if I can't find some way to help them without them really knowing I'm trying to help them.
Okay. So while you're taking the time over the evening to do some research, the Lady Blackstaff will appreciate the cordiality. She will say that the economy of Waterdeep has picked up significantly since the return of that will, and business is essentially booming. She will say that your actions have been being broadcast mostly via images within the mind by Hallister Blackcloak.
And I will immensely apologize for that.
She kind of chuckles at that, and she says, fortunately, we've transmitted to those who would listen that they only have to say the word off if they don't want those images transmitted to their mind. Makes for something of an interesting scene when you watch an entire platoon of soldiers stop in the middle of the street and just say off.
I wonder if that would work for me. I might have to remember that next time this happens.
And she will allow you to peruse the library. So I want you to go ahead and, while you're looking through the library for specific things, tell me what it is you're looking for first, and then make a perception check.
Specifically, since I hadn't had that necklace in my hand in a while, and literally wasn't expecting this to be where my day is going, I would like to spend a little bit of time to see if there's any markings on the necklace that I could find to maybe glean, where that necklace originated, more for family history.
Okay.
So that's item number one. And then again, like I said, item number two would be to see if there's any log or record of people's magic changing from one class to, or I won't say class to another class, but from one side of the scale to the other gradually, or just randomly things look different. Kind of like what happened to me, but I always thought it was because it was the time I spent in the Shadowfell that caused it. And now I'm more curious on if there's something more inherent on why these magics are not exactly as pure as they once were. And seeing it in front of me by other pure casters has got me a little concerned, but yeah, I want to try to help them.
Okay, so let's start with you looking at the necklace for specific details. Okay. Let's go ahead and make a perception check on, or investigation rather. Go ahead and make an investigation check on that.
Here comes my shitty roll. Hey, it's not as bad as it usually is.
Okay, so of note, getting a better look at the bird. The bird is a raven, not a crow, it is wrapped around in pearls, as I had said before. You're looking for some sort of symbology on the necklace itself, or something to give away, and nothing else stands out about it other than those two things.
Okay.
And as you're trying to look up in the library for any significance of what that raven might be, that same sort of symbol or anything regarding it, go ahead and make a perception check as you kind of flip through different books trying to find information on it.
Okay.
Okay. So The raven as a symbol comes across in a variety of different things. I'm going to have a number of meanings. The immediate thing is one of the immediate things that you find is in the far, far, far north of the world is near the very tips of the spine of the world, which is a mountain range that kind of blocks off the northern end of the world. There is a mound called Raven Rock that is shaped in the symbol of a raven that kind of look out over the world. There are giant ravens that gather up there every once in a while to feast on the remains of whatever body is placed there by some barbarians that live in the area.
Okay.
That's one thing. The other thing is there is a demiplane of dread within the Shadowfell known as Barovia. And ravens have something of a significance, or said to have something of a significance, within Barovia as something of a holy creature. Although details surrounding that are vague and you're not able to find a whole lot of information, even in a library like this.
It
The
says
most
Barovia with a B.
Yes, Barovia would be in
Okay.
Demiplane of Dread. Barovia is the name, I should say, of the city, the prominent city in that area. The Demiplane of Dread itself is known as Ravenloft.
Okay.
Let me change the server settings because I'm getting lag.
A little bit.
Okay. The last thing you find, since you got that natural 20, a prominent symbol of a raven is most often attributed to another central creature of the Shadowfell, known only as the Raven Queen. She lives in a there's not much known about her. She's fairly new amongst the pantheon of the gods. It is said that she lives in a massive cathedral somewhere within the Shadowfell and is protected by a unique race of elves known as the Shatterkai.
Okay.
Being an Eladrin in particular, as you're researching, you would know, or you would find out, that she was either a high elf or an Eladrin herself, it's unclear, who, during a war between Corellian, the patron saint of the High Elves, and Loth, the patron saint of the Drow Elves, while they were locked in conflict, she tried to use the souls and the magic of the elves in an effort to elevate herself to a godly status, in an effort to try to salvage what was left of the fractured pantheon of the elves. She would attempt to persuade both Corellian and Loth to abandon this war against each other and come to their senses in an effort to stop essentially the High Elves and the Sun Elves and the Drow from continuing to wage a war against one another. And as she grew in power, more and more elves became inspired and eventually offered their magical abilities and, in some cases, even their souls freely in an effort to help her achieve her goals. However, as she worked tirelessly to try to unite elfdom uh, and increased her influence, there was a number of wizards among her followers, particularly evil ones, who attempted to siphon off the energy that the Shatterkai were offering to her and siphon that energy for themselves, which would allow them to gain them significant magical powers. During this process, she tried to, Raven Queen attempted to create a bridge between Aranvandor, which was kind of the celestial gate of Elvendom, and the Feywild. But she found out just before she got into Aranvandor what these evil wizards were doing, and threw her entire wrath upon them, and in the process shattered the gate, lost some of that energy. She's still a semi-divine being, quasi-divine entity, but between that betrayal and that expansion of energy, she is her ultimate goals and her ultimate state of mind, honestly, is in question.
Okay.
And as part of that effort to save the Feywild, save the Elven Pantheon, the spell which she used to destroy the wizards also pulled her and her closest followers, her closest Shatterkai, into the Shadowfell, where she now presumably resides. And then regarding the change of magics between one archetype to another, go ahead and make a perception check as you look for books on that.
Okay.
It's as you kind of look up information regarding the change on those sorts of things. The first books you come across are things you would already know, that wizards can change their schools of magic and change the study, yada yada yada. People can gain new capabilities based on a devotion to a particular deity or a deity or an entity, powerful entities like an archfey or demon, providing some sort of boon or blessing to an individual. A sudden change from what you research, a sudden change in the nature of someone's magic seems to mostly rely on the idea that for them to be able to suddenly change from one thing to another, that has to be in regards to some sort of boon or essence that has been placed or created by some other being.
Okay.
That's the extent of what you get.
Okay. That's fine. So with that knowledge, I will take my leave of the tower, and now it's more in the evening. I will head down towards what's the tavern called where Durnan is?
That would be
Yawning
the
Portal.
Yawning Portal.
Yawning Portal, yep. And I'll head there for the evening before heading back. So you can come back to
Okay.
me if you want.
Okay, we'll come back to you in a second.
Yep.
The rest of you guys sitting at the bar, is there anything else you're doing over the course of this evening? You know Treveron's not there. Julie, you got the arm in hand.
I'm not really doing much. Other than probably about to go to bed.
Okay.
Kelly, after
Mhm.
taking a small nap before my much larger sleep, I am going to interrupt, or I'm going to wake up out of my, just resting,
Rest.
and I'm going to I'm going to go looking around for Kay, assuming I can find his.
He is drinking at the bar with Dreloff.
Okay. And I'm going to pull him off to the side and basically say to him, um, I have a rather important errand to run tomorrow, and I think that maybe you should come with me.
And why do you think that?
He's drunk.
Is he pissed drunk?
He's not pissed drunk, but he's getting there.
Ah, arguing with drunks. I haven't done that in a while. Um, perhaps because of the nature of how you are alive right now and how I saved you.
I will stare at you blankly. I'll go, oh yeah, that.
At that point, I'm just going to say, all right, good talk. I'll see you in the morning.
I will pat you on the back and go, I'll see you then, friend, and then I'll sit back down at the bar.
As you kind of make your way back up, Molly will place by some freshly roasted chicken breast, a plate near you. She says, "Yours if you want it, sir."
I'll eat.
Okay. Anybody else? Dreloff, Julie, Kay, Daz.
Drinking with
Other
Okay.
than trying not to die on the way up the stairs to my bedroom. No.
if he falls, I'll just laugh at him.
Julie's going to put the rock with the the badge from the hobgoblin on the altar with the rest of his stuff that he's collected. The Yeti horn, the demon spider antenna, the owlbear skull, the chimera dragon tongue. That's all going on the Groosh also, and he's going to spend the night in quiet contemplation as to what he should do. And then in the morning, I think is when Julie will address it with what he needs to do with everybody when they're all there.
Okay. So you create for yourself quite an altar of trophies before the symbol of Magublia, or Magublia, the symbol of Grumsh, rather, and kindly just sit there in quiet contemplation for the better part of the evening, the silent hum of the tavern above echoing throughout. The cat, by the way, is up on the second floor and is just kind of taking a nap. Treverin, as you head to the yawning portal, it is at this time of night pretty raunchous with several adventurers who seem to recognize you as you walk in. A couple of them kind of hail you with beer as you pass by, and one of them will yell back as you kind of pass by. Yo, love the magic, dude! And you just kind of, I assume you kind of just ignore the most of it. Walk up to Dernan, who doesn't even flinch, just pulls out a mug of ale, slides it in your direction, and just kind of waits.
Yep. And I don't really pay much attention to anyone else. I take a moment and I write on a piece of paper that I'd like to speak privately to Dernan, and I put a platinum on top of the note and just pass it over to him.
All right. He takes the platinum, pockets it before he even opens up the note, reads it, nods, and says, "Bonnie, keep an eye on things for you." Wrong accent. "Bonnie, keep an eye on things for a minute, will you?" And he gestures towards the back room.
Yep. And I'll follow him to the back room.
He takes a seat on one of the chairs, gestures for you to sit, and just kind of folds his arms and waits.
So I will look at him and I say, well, I know your head's been filled with images of our adventures down under. I really just came to ask you about something because we've had a new adventurer join the party, and it's been it's a little foggy on how he ended up with us, and trusting him has been hard for me. And I'll say, do you have any information, or has the name Daz come across your plate other than through your head, thanks to the moron Mad Mage?
Dez,
Yes.
if you will, share as much as you want, as much as you can think of, regarding your former companions.
Oh shit.
Otherwise, I'll make something up for you.
Yeah, I didn't put anything down for like names of who I was going down into the Undermountain with. So
Okay.
yeah, it's fine. You can make up whatever.
Okay. Dernan will share with you that he heard the name come around once or twice, and that Daz used to be, you might start writing this down, used to be
Yep.
a member of something called the Collective, a group of hunters called the Collective. They, simply put, they were a group of bounty hunters that would take odd jobs, odd bounties from folks, no questions asked, and just go after them. No questions asked, take care of the bounty. Some of them dead, some of them alive. Basically, think Mandalorian. And that's he used to be. He tells you that the collective is this agency that's still around, though they're kind of a shadow organization. There are rumors that they may have ties to the Zentarum in some way, although that's not been confirmed. And if you were to ask a member of the collective, they would never confirm it one way or the other. And as far as what he knows about Daz, other than that, he will tell you that all he knows is that the guy's pretty quick and has a good shot, but he's not especially subtle.
And I will look at him and say, do you know if he has any ties to the Xanathar Guild?
Not that I know of, though. Not that I know of, but it wouldn't surprise me if him or his collective have taken a few bounties or hits from them.
Okay.
The whole no questions asked thing.
Yeah, no, I got you. I just, like I said, his sudden appearance, and he's yet to really been very forthcoming about telling us how he found us, and where he found us. It was almost impossible for him just to have strolled up upon us. So just trying to figure this guy out. So cool. And then I'll ask him, is anyone else come by asking about us?
He says, well, Raynar's come by a couple of times to talk to about you. I don't think he's been specifically looking for you.
Okay.
Mert's been enjoying the show. Other than that, he shrugs his shoulders.
Okay. Cool. Thank you for your time, as always. You've been very helpful and a good friend. And
Thanks
I'll
for the.
kind of bow and walk on out.
He nods and says, "Thanks for the platinum," and
And
he
then
follows you out.
I finish off the beer and I just kind of slam it down the bar and I head back up to Troll Skull.
Okay. It gets late into the evening. Kay, I assume you just kind of drunkenly stammer into your room.
Yes.
Draloff, you more or less do the same. Is there anything late at night that anybody is going to be doing in particular?
Not I.
Nope.
Other than resting, no.
The one thing I'm going to do is once I get back to my room is I'm going to kind of go in, lock the door, and trance and staring at the necklace kind of the whole time, just in deep thought about it while I'm resting.
Okay. While you're doing that, just roll a d20 for me. Okay.
Right down the middle.
Right down the middle. You focus on the trance. As you were locked in the trance, you'll recall that over the last several weeks, your trances, whereas you normally kind of trance into this quiet location of the Shadowfell, you've been plagued by these images, these memories that have been circling around your mind often as you linger within your trance. The memories themselves linger often tonight on images of your mother, mostly growing up, and this symbology of the necklace itself wrapped around her. Those memories focus on oftentimes her touching the necklace and muttering a silent prayer. Outside of that, the images, the memories are around the last moments that you ever saw your mother.
Did I ever have the courage to ask her what the prayer was, or was it always muffled and where I never knew what it was?
It was often muffled, and if you had ever asked her, she would say she was just praying to the spirits.
Okay.
All right. Outside of that, you guys get the benefits of a full rest, get all your stuff back. What are you doing in the morning?
Well, first thing I'm gonna do is see if I can abruptly wake up Kay out of his hangover, assuming that that works.
Okay. It probably takes a little bit of effort, but you're able to get him up eventually.
Okay. And then hopefully with a clear head, I'm going to ask him to accompany me. Um, and as we go, I'm going to describe what's been going on. I'm going to tell him, or I'm going to say, ever since I brought you back to life, um, which I do indeed feel that feel it was important enough to do so. I should add, and I've not told this to anybody else, I should add that my my holy powers failed me. I was exhausted at my limits, and I was only able to do so after offering a prayer to Bahamut, and lo and behold, Bahamut did not answer. Another entity did.
And
And,
I will say that I'm not too surprised because Rivalola did not seem pleased by whatever did this.
well, I don't believe it was your mistress that I spoke with.
With her being that pissed, I don't think so either.
I'm concerned about a few things. My powers have not waned, but they have been different if you've noticed.
Are you going to attempt to find answers as to what this power is?
I am, and I thought maybe it would be good to bring you in tow, because it seems that you have changed as well, and I thought maybe we could both find out what was going on at the same time.
And where would you suggest we search first?
Well, I had a thought at first that we would go to the Holy Hand's house, which is a temple to all deities in Waterdeep. And while there, I'm going to see if I can find any other clerics or any of the, order of worshiping Bahamut, and do one little errand while we're there besides, and perhaps seek guidance from there. And then I had two other stops that I planned to make along the way.
Then tally ho, I suppose.
Okay. Killy with K in tow, I'm gonna grab my stuff and I'm gonna exit out the troll skull and I'm going to head over to Holy Hand's house.
Okay,
Now,
before that
go ahead.
happens,
Go ahead.
before you guys leave, Julie, you wanted to do something while everybody was there, yes?
I did. I did want to. Julie will stop you in the common room and ask if you could stay because I have something I want to address to the whole group once everyone's up and about.
Okay.
Once everyone is up and about, Julie will. Julie's never one to mince words. Julie says, hand belonged to Julie's in Orc tribe, Ornak, son of Makuz, who was Julie's mentor and fostered Julie in the tribe. While Julie was away, tribe has seen hard times. And another orc, Gelradran the White, has taken over. Gelradran is an evil orc. Very strong and with magic. And he is using that to twist the tribe and turn it into a force that is an insult to both Groomsh and our tribe's legacy. So I've put off for too long going and aiding my tribe in its time of need, but I will wait no longer. I must go. I must confront Gelradran, regardless of whatever the outcome may be, and see if I can free my tribe from his evil hand. I do not know what my chances are, but I know that I must try. My friend is dead because I have been busy chasing treasure in some mad mage's dungeon. I will live with that. But I will not live with it any longer. I am not one to ask for help. I have no tongue for it. But we have fought many things together as a group. I would ask you to fight with me, if you would, to help me in my time of need. If you say no, there will be no bad blood. I understand we all have agendas. Because I've tried to help while seeking treasure you on yours as much as possible, but now I must tend to mine. And he'll stop there.
Yeah, big man. Did you say orcs? I mean, last time I looked at you, you're a human. Orcs don't do nothing but humans.
They're my family, Daz. They're all I've known. And I will not stand by while they are turned into what could be a force that threatens this very city. The one who left this was bold enough to come and bring it right to our doorstep. Would they be so bold if they had not gained the strength to do so?
I have questions for Julie, and I'm literally going to ask while I am no paladin that can't see past the nature of being helpful to other people and such. I From my short time of traveling with you, I have noticed an overall an overall how do I phrase it? An overall lack of morality to some of our exploits together. You were part of an orc tribe, yes?
Yes.
And if I'm to assume correctly, as part of an orc tribe, you would have raided and fought beside your fellow orcs, and I already know that you have an overwhelming lust for treasure. Correct?
Yes.
Okay.
I agree that fortune has been guiding my actions since I left. But now I see some things are more important.
Well, I cannot leave right now, but I will say this. I have no stomach for some of the ways that you act toward other creatures in particular. Not all, but certainly non-evil beings necessarily, or beings that may offer no threat. If I'm to help you uh with your venture, um can you promise me no innocents will be killed along the way?
He looks at you and says, he doesn't laugh. He says, how can I promise that which I don't know?
I mean by your hand.
He goes, life is a wild wind.
I
It
mean
blows as
by
it blows,
I
and we
mean
walk in it.
I mean by your hand itself. And by innocence, I mean perhaps a small family sheltering and, we happen by, you're not going to slaughter them without, thinking.
Well, I don't think that's Julie's style anyway. I mean, he's not evil. I mean, he's certainly
He's
played
not
up to his
evil.
chaotic neutral alignment, but I mean,
No, he's not
he
evil.
hasn't arbitrarily just slaughtered people.
No.
I mean, you could make a case for the hobgoblins, but they're a racial and religious
No.
enemy.
I know.
So
I'm just trying to get assurances because it would, a pack of raiding orcs would not necessarily consider certain things innocent. And even though you're not with the pack of raiding orcs, that is why I'm asking you.
I will be true to myself. Listen, I don't kill indiscriminately. I don't kill those who are no threat, who don't deserve it.
Okay, fair enough. I will help you, but I cannot leave now.
I look at Julie and I say, what exactly is your plan?
Find Galvadran the White and kill him.
I will add for your benefit, Julie. You would know, based on your orcs tribe and your particular tribe, there are a handful, not too many as far south as your tribe is, but there are a handful of orc tribes around the area. And yours in particular, when you were last there, had about 100 warriors that they could call upon. At least. So it's not a small band by any means. You would be walking into a veritable fortress.
No, I realize that, and you know I'll say that, and I may have mentioned in our previous discussions when we were in the dwarfish ruins that the Burning Eye clan was one of the power. But with Gelradran, they've increased in strength. And I explained how the old orc camp around the troll tides, you know, they're normally humid, natural hot springs areas, and the place is now cold and snowy. And it's all of a piece with Gelradran's takeover.
So what is your plan if you
some
stand
forces, go ahead.
I say, what is your plan if you stand at the foot of your tribe and they're all against you?
Well, I don't have a plan yet. But I have to go and see and judge before I have a plan. But if I can defeat Gelradran, if I can free the tribe from his evil hand, then I don't think that will be a problem. And if it is, so be it.
I say I will support you. I don't know if I can support you attacking your own tribe to take out a leader just to replace him with some other leader, because you obviously are not going to be there to lead your tribe. So who's going to take over for next? Right? If you can put some thought into it and come back to me with some idea of what we're really trying to do here, and then I will commit to you that I will help you.
Well, again, Julie says, let's go. I need more information. I have to go and find out which of the warriors might support me. And if so, we use the old ways to fill the chief role. You know, it's combat. If I can face Gelradran in combat and win, maybe I can even select a replacement. But first step is to get more information.
I look at him and I say, I agree. So are you going to go gather information and come back to us?
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to go and he's going to, you know, scout it out and see what he can see from a distance, and then try to maybe figure out how to get more close-up information, maybe even sneaking in.
Okay. I say, you know, go with speed, but don't do anything foolish.
Maybe we could meet you in a few days ago at your location.
Yeah. Yeah, Julie will be up for that.
So, Killy, is the area he's talking about, is it back towards Red Larch?
It is past Red Larch.
So
It is close to the High Forest, probably closer to the Lost Peak. So it's for him to get there, it's gonna be about a 2-week journey by horse.
Okay, so can we agree to meet up in Red Larch in 3 weeks?
Yeah. Yeah, that would work.
And if you get there before we are, there are contacts there. They'll know how to get a hold of me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we can figure out some way to get in contact, when we're ready. Okay, I don't know how you want to logistically handle this, but that plan works for me.
Okay, so for now, you're gonna kind of ride off on your own up there.
Yeah, I mean, and if I could use someone like Daz if Daz wants to come with me. I mean, he's small and sneaky, and this is probably right up his alley.
Up to you, Des.
Yeah, if you want to hire me, big man, that's no problem. You get that white orc or whatever you're talking about within range of my crossbow, right there. I got you. It's
You
all
want to
done.
hire me? That's not wise words to say to a man within stabbing range.
Well, here's what I'm thinking. Obviously, we can do a time skip, like as far as travel, right, Kill? I mean,
Yes.
this has passed.
Yeah.
Would it benefit Daz to see before they set off if he can get his armor made somewhere, and then we can pick it up before we leave to meet them?
Yeah, I mean, if you want to, I mean, Daz will then leave without the armor, but you can arrange to have it picked up and then meet them in Red Larch to present it to him. That's what you want to go for.
And I'll ask
also,
Daz if he'd be equitable to that if he can find somebody to make it.
Yeah, that'd be fine. I've talked to some people, but they're trying to charge an arm and a leg. Also, I put some feelers out to see if I could find some specialized equipment that could help me out while I'm on the job.
And I look at Daz. How much are they charging you to get your armor made?
Well, there was a dwarf. He wanted like 3,000 gold, and there was another. I don't even know what race it was.
Genasi.
It looked like you. He had pointy ears and stuff. He wanted 3,000 gold too. I think they were intimidated by my beauty and magnificence. They're trying to charge me extra.
Kay audibly laughs at us. Like just a
But I trust the Dragon Man. If he will help me, I'll hire him to help me. That's fine.
I'll bring it to you if you can, if you'll go with Julie, and we will bring it to you in Red Larch as long as you can find a place that can make it.
Yeah, no, I tell him about the two places
Okay.
that I found the smiths at, and maybe he can get some because they sure as fuck didn't want to work with me. And then also, the week's obviously not up, so I guess I'm out those gems for trying to find magical items. That's fine.
We can say, for the sake of argument, that it'll be referred to the manor, and it'll be delivered to the party that stays in town.
All right, yeah, let's go, big man.
Okay.
I'm not that expensive.
So,
All right.
Yeah.
So, to prep for the journey for horses and rations and everything, it's going to cost you guys about let's say 50 gold each.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's
Okay.
he's
That's
got
pricey.
me on that one.
It's about a month and a week's maybe worth of rations and travel and stuff. So.
I'll pay his way.
I don't think you have a choice. you just got a hireling.
Yeah, you just look at
I didn't think of that. Okay, so you guys prep that day and set off. For the remaining 4 of you that are staying in town, what are you doing?
Okay. I am going to go to that temple of like many gods that I mentioned. Oh,
Pan, can you mute yourself?
Fuck.
there we go. Whew.
Hang on.
I think they're having another hailstorm in Tennessee.
No.
He's in Florida.
Oh,
That's
okay.
even worse.
Yeah, just you can hear the hail from Tennessee.
I have him on server mute for the time being. I'll unmute him here in a second. Pan, just say something when you're back in chat if you can hear us. All right, so what are you doing?
So I am going to go to the Holy Hands house, which is the temple of all deities,
Okay.
and
with me in tow.
with Kay in tow. And 2 things I'm going to do there. When we first walk in, I assume that most of the houses in the temple houses in Waterdeep are all more or less human based. Not that they're human specific deities, but this would be the one that would cover the other races' gods, correct?
This is basically an all-faith shrine, so it would cover all the gods. If you're looking specifically for a cleric of Bahamut, you will be directed to the high priest of Bahamut that actually happens to be there when you get there, who is a silver dragonborn.
Okay, before I do that, when I first walk in, I would like to approach and see if there are any dwarven clerics to I cannot remember the name of the shrine that we got or that I pulled the hold on, I gotta pull up the right webpage. That I pulled the lapis lazuli statue and the funeral shroud from. I cannot remember what god that is off the top of my head, but
Was that from the level with
it was
Frelof's dudes?
yes, yes, yes.
Okay. That would be Dumathoin, the dwarven god of secrets.
Okay. With that knowledge, I'm going to approach the dwarven contingent if there is one there, and I don't want to sell him the pieces. I want to offer them to the as returning um uh some relics that his people may want.
He thanks you profusely for the return and shares with you that if you're ever looking for information during your travels in Undermountain, or you're looking for some sort of respite, feel free to reach out to the clerics of Dumathoin.
Okay. I thank him very much and I go about my way and I approach the high priest of Bahamut.
Okay.
Okay.
He says, "A pleasure to meet a child of the Golden Dragons. What can I do for you, my child?"
I have a bit of a complicated problem, and this fellow here is part of that problem. And I'm going to elaborate to him what exactly happened. I'm going to say to him, we were in Undermountain, and we were adventuring, and we ran across a octobass.
What? Sounds made up.
It does. It does.
So we thought.
I have never heard of one before. I ask you to show him a tendril.
I will pull the tendril that I currently have jarred.
Holy Bahamut.
While there, I exhausted the ability to heal my friend because he was slain at the time, and I prayed to Bahamut to help me, and another voice answered. A voice that I do not believe was benign in nature. And as much as I foolishly hate to admit it, my friend's life was worth more than my own, and I signed a contract with someone I know not.
He kind of furrows his brow at this. And he says, "It seems to me that you have locked yourself into something you do not yet know. What, why do you tell me this?"
I seek answers to who I may have entered into a pact with, and to be sure that it does not hold any ill fate for my friend here. My fate, I hope I will, you know, manage on my own, but his, I want to make sure that he is okay. Do you know where a good place to start would be is as to
He's,
finding out the answer to that question?
he says, "What was the nature of the voice that talked to you?"
Uh, well, it sounded male.
Well, it sounded female.
Oh,
I'm just
wait.
not a girl that can make it sound that way.
Oh no, I thought it was male. That's my
Nope,
bad, Killy.
that's okay.
Sorry, it sounded female. Um, it it offered me the power and did not say too much more than that after I signed its infernal contract.
Did you physically sign a contract?
Well, I don't know that I physically did, or if it was more of a spiritual um m- uh manifestation of myself.
Well, yes, but actually no.
He says, "What did this entity demand?"
My soul.
At this, he furrows his brow and he says, "You have forsaken your faith to another entity, and thus Bahamut, or has forsaken you. The power that you now call upon is belongs to whatever this deity is.
Oh,
Has it
okay.
instructed you to do anything since?"
No, and I don't know that I would. It did not say that I would be in uh its debt, except for it would have access to my soul, I assumed, after I died. The contract wasn't exactly mm, forthcoming on a lot of matters.
He says, "That may be good. That tells us that it was not a devil that you signed your soul away to. Devils are often abide by strict contracts, usually signed in blood.
I'm trying to think,
Uh,
did I sign that in blood?
You gave only a verbal affirmation that you would do so."
Okay, yeah. Just checking. Mine's going a
Mhm.
little bit.
Yep. He says, "It's possible that a simple verbal affirmation could be another entity entirely, or at worst, a demon of the Nine Hells. What is the nature of the magic that now surrounds you?"
Well, it's certainly shadowy.
"Shadowy. It could be a number of creatures. Tell me, is the nature of that magic centered around, well, do you feel cold, as if a cold hand of death washes over you as you cast the magic?"
Mm, don't think I felt cold. It's manifested itself mainly in what's the school of magic that would be? Or for instance, when I summon spirit guardians, they no longer take quite the same form. They're quite enshrouded in a shadowy mist. And when I summon a spiritual weapon, its energy is no longer of the light, it is of darker energy. I have
He
not.
says,
Good.
he says, Are you able to summon such a thing now?
Sure. Um, I will summon spiritual weapon.
You summon a spiritual weapon, which manifests itself as this this long sword that has something of a darkish burnished steel color, even that you can kind of make out even in the uh, glow of the natural force weapon, and you can see that on the hilt are what appear to be the wings of some sort of bird. And he kind of furrows his brow and he says, "It seems you have attracted the entity of, if I had to guess, some creature within either Limbo or the Shadowfell."
Out of curiosity, and being connected to Shadowfell, do I recognize the symbol
The symbol of what?
of what's on his blade?
Make a religion check. You recognize the wings as raven wings.
Do I know who might have raven wings as a Shadowfell deity?
You would know that the Raven Queen would be prominent regarding ravens in the Shadowfell.
I
Beyond
will.
that, you would also know that the demiplane of Barovia has reveres ravens.
I will share both of those. Not knowing which is the best option here.
You know that ravens are seen often as, beyond that, as a omen of usually good fortune, sometimes bad. Usually it's crows that are seen as a symbol of bad fortune, ravens as a symbol of good fortune.
To the high priest, I say, you, I assume you have been high priest for a while of this area.
Oh, 22 years now.
Have you ever seen anything else like this before? Of this kind of pact or heard of anything that
Not manifested so clearly.
I can I can still spellcast. I can still help those in need. I can I still act among my better nature. Surely, surely there's somewhere else I can look for more answers to this. I mean I'm aware of the I'm aware of the oh what the hell? Hold on. Sorry, Kelly. I'm moving the map here a little bit.
Mhm.
Perhaps would I be able to search for answers, maybe more answers at the Temple of Agma?
He says, "They hold much hidden knowledge. It's certainly a possibility."
No. With that, I thank with that I thank you for your help. And before I go, I would like to make a donation to help out any of the folk in need of um let's say 25 platinum.
Okay. He overwhelmingly thanks you for a generous contribution of that amount as you leave, and it immediately begins to make his way towards the temple of Bahamut out of the All Faith Shrine.
And with that, I'll just chit chat with Kay, and I'm gonna be like, oh, "What do you know about the Raven Queen?"
That's a good question. What do I know about the Raven Queen?
Based on that earlier religion check, You only know that she is a somewhat new entity within the Shadowfell. Talked about once or twice, not very often, by Rivalova, as you inquired about the nature of the Shadowfell itself. And beyond that, you don't really know anything else.
You
I will
men-
relay that, and I will also say that this could be her way of growing her dominion.
with that with that with that knowledge, I don't suppose your patron is on speaking terms with you yet. You've hinted that that has not been the case.
I haven't attempted to contact her since then.
Would it be outside of the realm of possibility that you might try when we reach the inn later? Uh, I'm not trying to be selfish, but for my sake.
I'll see if she'd be willing to share that kind of information with me. I'm sure she won't be the happiest to give me anything like that, but
Well, if you fear that it puts you in danger, I ask you not to do it.
it
But,
won't put me in danger, but I'm sure she won't be happy.
well, strike you dead? Not happy? Or, you know, curse you out? Not happy.
A little more towards the curse you out, not happy, but I don't know what she's capable of quite yet. But she can do this, and I'll, form the blade in the middle of nowhere. So who knows?
Fair enough. And with that, Killy, I am going to take Kay along with me down to the Temple of Agma.
Okay. The Temple of Agma is not too far from the All-Face Shrine. It's not too far of a travel at all. You pass by a couple of priests, some who give curious eye in your direction as you pass by. Something you've grown a little accustomed to, unfortunately, over the last 24 hours is the curious eye of passers-by within the city. As you make your way into the Temple of Agma itself, it is maintained mostly by elven clerics, interestingly enough, though most of them appear to be more in it for the scholarly benefit and less towards being specifically representatives of Agma,
Right,
though most of them are moon elves. They are basically high elves with a darker shade of color for their
r-
skin.
right, because basically Agma is more or less knowledge in general, but surely
Mhm.
there are a few clerics or whatnot that I might be able to speak to. I mean, they basically maintain libraries, correct? More or less.
Primarily, they're the it is a cler- their temples are more often libraries than anything else.
Okay. With that, I'd like to approach inside, approach the temple, go inside, and am I greeted by anyone there? I don't know if
There
they have like
there's
librarians or.
there's a young half elven man, only probably 80-ish years old, who's dressed in acolyte's robes, who will greet you and inquire as to the nature of your visit.
I will approach him and say that I am looking for any knowledge that this temple may have about an entity slash deity called the Raven Queen.
They will they will ask for a contribution of at least 10 gold for perusal of the library,
I will
a-
gladly give it to them.
and they will have one of the acolytes trail you during your search. They will direct you based on their Dewey Decimal System, whatever the equivalent of that is in Faerun, over towards uh, over
Do you
towards the
know the Dewey Decimal System?
over towards the section that would contain information about unknown deities or new deities or cautiously some things that kind of fall under the vein of cults. As you're kind of searching through the books, you can go ahead and make a perception check. Okay, if you're helping him, you can make the check with advantage.
Yep, go ahead and make check with advantage.
Yeah, hold on.
Okay. So, you were able to find a rare tome regarding the origin of the Raven Queen written by a wizard known as Mordenkainen.
Oh, nice.
It describes essentially a lot of what I told Treverin that he discovered. This was an elven woman who attempted to reunite the shattered elven pantheon from Corellian and Lolth's war. She was betrayed by some wizards who tried to siphon the souls and magic freely given by other elves to her, and in the process, she and her closest followers were dragged into the Shadowfell. And her origin, her original name, her origin regarding the Fey Wild, and how that all connects is largely unknown. From the natural 20 you got, and having found access to this particular tome, you learn that she, um, the wizards that had turned against her, she used a powerful spell to turn them into a vulturous creature of the Shadowfell known as a Nagpa. And you learn that she sits within this fortress that is known as the Fortress of Memories. And it is said that she obsessively seeks to collect memories, usually from the remnants of gods who have been slain or mortals that have found their way, unfortunately, into the Shadowfell.
Would it be fair to say, um, would it be fair to say that I would know that this tome would have with the crit? Would it be fair to say that I know like about the wizards, like specifically who turned against her? Like, I'm trying to figure out if they were good or bad, or like whose side she was kind of on, that type of thing.
Sure. So the what her ultimate goal was before she became the Raven Queen was there's a war between Corellian, who's kind of the patron saint of good elves, and or elves in general, and Lolth, who turned from Corellian in an effort to veered more towards the chaotic side of elfdom and became
Right.
the patron saint of who became the Drow, and they've fought in this war between one another for who knows how long,
Right, I'm
and are
familiar
very
with
much against
Loth
one.
and all that. Yeah,
Right.
yeah, yeah.
Whoever she was before, she tried to essentially send to godhood and get the two of them to stop their nonsense and reunite the uh, elven pantheon. And a lot of elves, primarily called Shatterkai, willingly gave their magical capabilities as well as their very souls to her, which increased her power exponentially. During the process of that, a couple of evil wizards amongst her contingent took the opportunity to siphon some of that power for themselves and gain and increase their own power through the power of the souls and the magic that they drew from the elves under her contingent. When she found out about that, she unleashed an immense spell right before she was able to step into the celestial plane of the elven gods. She let loose a terrible spell that shattered that bridge that she was trying to make and turned these evil wizards into these Nagpa creatures, which kind of look like vultures, these dark vultures.
Okay. So,
Eh,
so to sum up, as I'm reading the book, I'll be talking it over with Kay as I'm doing it. To
mhm.
sum up, it looks like, while good intentioned, it appears that she was striving for godhood to correct the problems that she saw with with the elven pantheon, and not everyone who was following her or said they were following her actually were. It looks like she was betrayed. It seems to me that one who did such a thing, or had that happen to them, would be quite bitter about it. I'm just going to see if Kay kind of agrees.
Yeah, that's kind of how I'm feeling.
But does that mean that she's become evil?
Not necessarily.
Hmm. Then
Now,
good.
just to throw out there, you would know Kay based on your relationship with Rivalova. Rivalova is what she would have shared with you. Has remnants tied to the ancient Nethrezese Empire. Very unlikely that she would have any direct influence with the Raven Queen, outside of simply being another entity in the Shadowfell.
Gotcha. I will pass that along.
I would
So,
I would still ask him when we return home
Mhm.
to possibly look into possibly contacting his patron if he's willing.
Oh, I will, for the sake of figuring out what the hell's going on.
All right. I I can't say that you're not in harm's way anymore because no one seems to be able to tell us that. I don't know who to speak with regarding outright Shadowfell goings on. I suppose Treverin knows something, being that he has revealed that he has done some things there. But I fear that that may be all the information we were able to gain at the moment.
Should we? I mean, we can ask him.
I think I think that's what we may have to do. Kelly, I'm gonna make my make my way out with Kay, and I'm going to head back to the Troll Skull.
Okay. So, Kay, are you heading back to Troll School as well, or?
Yep, I'll follow.
Okay. So you guys make your way back to Troll School. Daz and Julie are already on the road, getting ready for their business. Over the course of the next couple of weeks, as you guys prepare to meet with them later in Red Larch, is there anything you guys are doing?
Did I hear any news of any magical items?
We'll get to that in a minute.
Um, I have I do want to do one thing, or rather, the store that we've been shopping at for weapons and armor,
Mhm.
which I believe is the no, it's not the bent nail, Steam and Steel.
Yep.
The Steam and Steel, I would like to go into, and I would like to see what the best armor and uh let's see. Let me just double check. I gotta check my character sheet quick.
Mm.
Uh, I do have proficiency with martial weapons. Um, I probably should have checked this, but what's the biggest sword I can handle with martial?
If you have proficiency with martial weapons, the biggest sword would be a great
Oop.
sword. I think. Unless there's something bigger you have in mind.
No, 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 not.
The overcompensation sword.
A buster sword.
Yeah.
Um, I would like to, and what would the best armor that I can purchase from them be?
Plate.
Plate.
And how much would that be?
Plate is 2,500 gold.
2,500 gold. You okay over there, buddy?
Yeah. Ah, man.
Can I
Alright.
sell you my body?
They'll say he's happily married.
How about my
He
soul?
already sold his soul.
Yeah.
The soul's already on rental.
Sword wise, what would that run me?
Um,
A great
I'm
sword.
sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I quoted you wrong. So the plate would be 1,500, not 2,500. If you're asking him maybe about crafting that mithril because he knows you, he'll do it at a slightly reduced price to the goblin at 2,500.
Okay.
The greatsword would run you 50 gold.
Okay. Great sword I would like to purchase.
Okay. I'll go ahead and just add that into your inventory for you.
Yeah, that's only a dragging, right? I think.
Yep.
I just don't know how to do that.
No shield on that.
I know. I'm aware. My armor class goes down.
I don't think you understand how hard he wants to hit shit.
No, I don't think you understand how many fucking blessing spells the fucking war cleric has.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
Like the one that ups my AC.
You should get a since you're a cleric, you should get a maul instead of a greatsword.
Mm,
It's the same damage profile.
It's the same damage, yeah, but it's just a giant hammer instead of a sword.
good call. Is that covered under Marshall?
Yes.
Yep.
It is, and it would be 10 gold to the 50 of a greatsword.
We'll go with that. I'm sorry, Kelly.
Because it's
That's
easier
okay.
to make a sledgehammer than to make a sword.
Yeah, it's easier
Yeah.
to put a giant fucking rock on the end of something it is to shape a sword.
Yep.
So I am essentially dragging Robert Baratheon.
Okay. So is there any sort of special make or any sort of special flair you want for them all, or
Just a simple
okay,
etching of a dragging on the side of it or something.
okay, you can find one of those pretty easily.
Fair enough. And other than that, I'll hold off on the armor for right now. Although I assume half plate they also sell.
They would also sell half plate, yes. Half plate, if you want to buy that, that's 750 gold.
Guys, break down. Platinum to gold.
10 to 1.
10 to 1.
10 gold, 1 platinum.
Jesus Christ, I'm so bad at fucking math. So I have
You have
215 platinum.
Add a 0 to it.
Yep. So you have 2,150 gold out of that platinum.
I'll go with half plate if they've got it.
Yep.
Wow, then
So
I've got a lot of gold.
yeah, platinum's pretty good. So it'd be 75 platinum essentially for the half plate.
All right. I will remove that. 1 second. Calculator, which I had up. So I already took the gold out. So 215 minus 75 equals Jesus 140. Okay.
Okay.
What's the AC on that kill?
I will drag it in and we will calculate it that way.
14 for half plate. Or no, wait.
Half plate, which is labeled as equipped. That
Alright.
means
15.
I have to unequip
you're
my shield right now.
you have to unequip the well the shield is okay. You got to unequip the adamantine chainmail that I see you had equipped.
Yeah, I'm going to unequip
So
that too.
I just said it. So your armor class, yeah, 'cause you already unequipped the shield then, so your armor class should be correct now.
Okay, fair enough. And that's all I'm doing as far as like maintenance before we go do anything. Obviously, we'll
Okay.
have a talk with Trevaring.
Okay. I gotta add, is anybody doing this mithril thing for the goblin?
I leave that to Trevaring. Because
I don't have the money.
I will help Trevaring if it comes down to it. I would assume the goblin would have left some gold behind or whatnot to do that.
It's up to the goblin.
You would assume maybe not correctly on that one.
You would assume wrong.
You assume wrong. He assumed you would pay for it, I guess. So probably not gonna happen. All right. Anything else you guys are doing over the course of this other than?
Well, hold on to that thought for a second. I got
Oh.
2 more things I want to do before we
Okay.
get to dealing with his armor.
Okay.
First thing, during these whole 2 weeks, I am very scarcely seen around. I come and go early in the morning and afternoon. don't really reveal what I'm doing. During one of my trips, I want to stop by the potion vendor.
Okay.
I'm looking for at least 3 healing potions, if not 2 healing potions and 1 greater healing, if it's available,
Okay.
and 1 water breathing potion.
Okay. For the healing potions, he will have that available. The regular
Okay.
healing potions are 50 gold a pop. A
Okay.
greater healing potion is 250 gold.
Okay. I
And
will
then
take 2 regular healing and 1 greater healing.
And then, just a second.
So I'm just writing this down. So it's 100 plus 250.
So the potion of water breathing, he does have one of those available as well, but just
Okay.
the one, and
That's
that's
all I
going to
need.
cost.
Just need 1.
And that'll cost you 250 as well, 250
Okay.
gold as well.
I will buy that from him as well.
Okay.
The second thing I want to do is I'm going to go buy a local meat store, food market, or something, and purchase like a raw side of beef of some sort. Doesn't really matter what it is, but something that I could carry, but pretty hefty, not like a steak for an elf, but something larger.
Okay. So probably a prime cut beef of that size would
Yeah.
run you probably about 15. No, let's make it 20 silver.
Okay, I'll just make it 1 gold just to keep it easy.
Okay.
And what I want to do is on one of my days that I'm out, I'm going to take the water breathing potion, I'm going to gargle it, and swim down the lake to see my dragon friend,
Okay.
and bring him the steak or the beef.
He is very happy to see you. He will take the beef in hand. He will swim around. He will mention offhandedly to you that there were a couple of submarines that were there the last time you were there. They have long since left for some place called Luskin, and he's been keeping an eye on any coming and goings of ships in the harbor, and most of what he shares is mostly uninteresting, but otherwise he's pretty happy to see you.
Yeah, no, and that's fine. And I asked him if this is a meal he would enjoy, and
Very much so.
if that's the case, I'm gonna stop back by that meat market and set up a delivery once a week to bring him food.
Okay.
And I'm gonna give them 1,000 gold to do so.
They find it really, really odd that you want to just have all this beef regularly thrown into the ocean, but they're not
I
about
was
to
thinking
just.
the same thing. You want
But
me to do what
they're
now? Once a
they're
week, why don't you take a giant cut of beef and just chuck it in the fucking lake? Why?
That's from my business. just do it.
That's fuck
They-
you money right there.
make a persuasion check on that
Okay.
one. I know it's 1,000 gold, but they're asking them to throw away some perfectly good meat. Damn it! All right, they'll let you. They'll do it.
Yeah.
They
And
they
I say that it will go to a good cause.
okay. They probably will inform the guard of that outside of your purview, but once that information gets hold of some folks who can actually investigate and they figure out what's going on, they know what's going on, then it's left alone and they
Okay.
just let it go.
Yeah. Okay. So that's that. I felt we owed him.
Weren't we
earlier.
paid someone, or paid to go investigate it by someone like by Enforced Gray or something like that? So they should know once it gets to the higher up that like don't fuck with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. So once it goes to the higher ups, then it's known. Okay, just let it happen.
Yep. So I want to make sure he was taken care of. Then, all right, let's see. So that's the water breathing potion. That's the only reason I really wanted that. Then the next thing, I want to stop by a florist of some sort and pick up a set of flowers.
Okay.
I will probably do that on the day we leave to head towards Red Larch.
Okay. About how exquisite is this bouquet?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be like super fancy, but I don't know, let's say 10 gold worth.
Okay, that can get you a pretty fancy set. And
Yeah.
The fellow Lefebvre, who runs the potion shop, is also a herbalist, and he'll be able to provide you with that.
Okay. So Just fixing my numbers here.
Mhm.
Spent that 500. So I left 36 and 25. Okay. All right. So that takes care of everything I wanted to do.
Killy, just a heads up. I
Mhm.
will not be traveling with the half plate on me because even though buyer's remorse, didn't realize the AC wasn't as high as the chainmail. So I
Okay.
will be leaving that in the room.
Okay.
Then what I will also do to deal with the whole armor situation, I will ask the shopkeeper, if I could pay 1,500 gold now, he make it, and then the goblin pay uh, the balance when he arrives to pick it up.
He'll agree only on the condition that if it's not paid within 2 months' time, that it be deducted from the cash of your manor.
Yeah, that's fair, and then I'll pick it up and pay
Okay.
the difference. Yeah.
Okay, and he'll have you sign a contract that
Yep.
agrees to this.
All
Yeah.
right. So
Is that real fast? I know you're doing this, but would throwing in a barrel of our wonderful dwarven vintage ale change his price?
Make a persuasion check.
you want me to do it or him to do it?
He's the one who made a recommendation. Let him do
All
it.
right.
All right.
All right.
Oh shit.
I'll cut that to crit. He'll take it. He'll say 1,500 gold and one of those barrels delivered.
Okay.
Sorry.
I say done.
I was gonna say, did you just try to lease a set of armor out?
So it'll take 5 days, but that'll be. Might as well go ahead and add it in now. Let's throw armor.
Yeah, and then I already deducted it out of my.
That's mithril
So.
armor. It will be mithril plate, size specifically for a goblin.
Okay.
That might be all that it would be. That may be the biggest thing it could make.
And
It's only 20 pounds of it. I mean, yeah, it's lighter, but damn.
yeah, we'll just go with that for now.
Okay.
I think I'm good with everything I want to do. So.
Okay. Anybody else?
Yeah, before I decide to go help Julie, I want to learn more about the way to get revenge.
Okay. How do you go about doing that?
You mentioned something about a wind and a mage and a, if I remember correctly.
You
Wind's a
remember
fate.
seeing. You remember seeing that vision, and to get more information on that, um, if you ask about it, presumably to your companions, it would be up to Treverin. You would have to share that vision with Treverin. It'd be up to Treverin to basically share with you whether or not he recognizes the tower.
Then I share the vision with Treverin and see what it is.
Okay.
And do I recognize the tower?
Based on his description, you've spent so much time there. Yeah, you would recognize it.
Okay.
Basically up to you to decide whether or not you'd share that information.
So it's Kentarus's tower.
Yeah, very
Okay.
much so.
All right. I'd say based on your description, um, I suggest that when we head towards Red Larch, when I part ways from the group, you come with me,
Well,
and maybe we can address that.
might I add that you have a fucking cell phone to Kantaris?
I do, but there's a reason I'm heading. I gotta head up there anyway. So
Oh, okay.
I have a purpose already.
All right. I was gonna
So,
say
but
you
but
could
I
ask him.
but I could. And
Fair enough.
but I don't know if he really wants to do. I'll pose the option. I said, look, I'm gonna go visit the tower anyway. You can either come with me to the tower, or I can get you an expedited answer. What would you like?
Go with you to the tower.
Okay.
Okay. Anything else between the four of you?
don't believe so.
Don't believe so.
Okay. So we'll get into what happens next later, but let's go ahead and take care of the magic item search. So, Kay, you drop down some money for it. Daz, you drop down a good chunk of money on it. Was there
700.
anybody? Right. Was there anybody else I'm missing? I
No.
don't think so. Okay. So, um, starting with Kay, go ahead and make I think it's a persuasion check.
Charisma, yeah.
Yep. And you get to add no, you didn't add additional stuff, so it's just a straight persuasion check.
No, I added 700
Not you,
in there.
not you.
We
Okay.
pooled our money together. We were messing each other behind it
Oh, well,
while you were doing
shit.
stuff. So
Okay, so are you making one roll between the two of you, or
correct.
okay? So how much gold combined did you guys put towards this then?
So
You got
you didn't ask me how much roll. I just said I was gonna try and just find things. You're like, okay, but I was gonna put 500 towards it.
Okay, you're putting a total of 500 towards it, and Daz, you're doing 700.
Yep, we can get a maximum of a plus 10.
Right. So you can either make one roll with a plus 10, which is may net you a couple of available things, or you can make two separate persuasion rolls between the two of you.
No, my persuasion is shite.
I will take the plus 10. There you go. Oops, I didn't mean to
Okay.
have advantage.
I'm counting the 8. And you're getting a plus 5 to the roll from your contribution. Well, you said you contribute 500?
500, yes.
Okay, so it's actually plus 4. You get a bonus for an extra beyond the 100. And, well, I'll give you a plus 5 because you're there to spend the extra time to search. So you can add an extra 5 to that. So a total of 13. So roll 1d4 for me. Oops.
3.
Okay.
He got 3.
Okay. So go ahead and roll a d100 for me.
I like that they added the D100 to the thing, by the way.
Right down the middle. There you go.
Okay. The first item that's available for you for purchase, magic item that's available for you to purchase, is a potion of stone giant strength.
Can I ask what this does?
The stone giant strength, when you drink it, your strength score changes to 23 for 1 hour. It has no effect if your strength score is equal or greater than that. And that's what it does. Basically, it gives you a big strength score for a little bit. And if you want to buy it, they're selling it for. There's one being sold for. Oh, let me roll some dice. There's one of them currently being sold for 8,000 gold. Then you can roll another D100. All right. The next item available for sale is a spell scroll of polymorph.
Okay.
And that is currently available for 9,000 gold.
Jesus, okay.
Roll one more D100. All right. 66.
The
All
number
right, the
of
last
the beast. Sorry.
the last item available for sale is a potion of mind reading. And that is currently for sale at 4,000 gold. Oh, I'm sorry. I quoted you some wrong prices. They're halved for consumables. So that's for 2,000. Shit, whatever the other two I have, half that.
The one was 8, and it would be 4.
Okay, so yep. So the potion of frost giant strength, I think I said was 6,000, all right. So Potion of Frost Giant for free 3. I'll write it down here. Frost Giant potion.
I think the price was 3,000.
It's going to be 3,000 now.
No, 3,000.
Spell Scroll of Polymorph, which I originally said was 9,000. That's going to be reduced to 4,500. And then this last one is Potion of Mind Reading at 2K. So those are the 3 magic items that you find available for sale. And then Daz, go ahead and make your persuasion check.
Okay.
We're just going to add 6 to whatever you roll. Okay, that's going to be a 19. Roll a d4 for me. All right. 2 times. Go ahead and roll a d100. First item available is a Potion of Invisibility, which is selling for 1.5k. And the second item available is a Potion of Speed at 3k. A Potion of Speed is you basically gain the benefits of a haste spell for an hour with no concentration required. So,
Okay.
between those 2 efforts to find magic items, that's what you find available.
Well,
So are these all rare items? Is that what I'm understanding?
Yep.
Hmm.
Actually, I may have quoted you wrong on those. Yeah, those are very rare, so they're going to be a bit higher. Hang on. I quoted you wrong on those last 2. I've just took the quality of those. Okay, so sorry, the Potion of Invisibility is going to be 5k.
it's okay. Whatever their price, I can't pay for them until Julie
Yep.
pays me for, hiring me to go and kill this orc for him.
I'm sorry, it's 10k for that. And then
Someone's very mistaken and is going to be very disappointed.
Potion of Speed is 20k. So those are very rare, and those go under a different role. So
I'm less concerned about my selling my soul than you should be about that goblin collecting what's due.
It's the what's due part that we're going to disagree on. I didn't hire him to kill anybody. I just asked if he wanted to come with me.
He took it as illegal.
So anyway, those are the magic items during your search that are available for purchase that you find. Outside of that, we will get into the adventures outside of Undermountain and what all Julie is going to learn about his clan in the next week.
Following
I know
episode.
you. I know you said clan, but I seriously thought you said clam. Julie gonna find out what happened to his clam.
No.
All right.
That too.
That was fun. I will shut her down.